I'm waiting.
Well, we're not seeing him.
Are live. There you
go. Well, good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Livewell. It's a big episode. It is episode number 50.
Look at the
camera.
And, of course, Mr. Jonathan Farmer calling me back.
Let him in the door. He wants to.
I don't know.
I don't know.
See what he wants.
Go for it.
Got a big show. It's Thanksgiving special. As you can see, we have a feast laid out on the table.
Yeah, look right there at that camera right there.
And we're just going to give thanks and talk about fishing. So
we just started live.
At this point, Ryan was supposed to take over, but he's on the phone with Mr. Farmer.
Farmer says hello.
There you go.
So,
all right,
turning it over to you.
All right. So, as always, you guys, this is the 50th episode of the Livewell, and it is going to be a fantastic episode. As you guys can see, I did not lie yesterday. I told we would have a full table spread. This is Ricky Bobby style. We got Pizza Hut from For Her Outdoor Apparel, Mrs. Jennifer. She is in the house tonight, by the way. She does not want to be on camera, but she is in that direction.
Right there.
That direction.
Oh, before you go any further with all the advertisements, can we go ahead and say
Danny's back?
Danny is back, so let's go ahead and get to 15 minutes of, hey, Danny, where you been? How you doing?
Like a chipmunk.
Comments going through the feed.
I'm happy to be here.
Well, this is off to a great start in the
Jeff
bang.
McNeil, that's horrible. That's horrible.
Back to the sponsors.
That's the sponsorship. So, as always, this episode is brought to you by For Her Outdoor Apparel. Jennifer and Peyton, her granddaughter, are absolutely wonderful people, and they have a wonderful company, and they have an absolutely wonderful outline of apparel for any of you, the special guy or girl. It is for her. It is tailored for women. However, there's plenty of great guy stuff. I have a couple of things already.
It's really hard when the boss is sitting here.
It is kind of hard.
It's hard when the boss is sitting there.
I'm like, I don't want to mess up and say something wrong. She's laughing. Though,
she does have a rather large water bottle over there.
That's right.
She said, "Yeah, we let Danny back in the States, according to Ron Swanford." So
I'm back.
But For Her Outdoor Apparel, let's throw that banner up there, Paul, so that way everyone knows how to find them. They've got some good Thanksgiving Black Friday sales going on. How long are they lasting for?
We only have a $5 Friday.
$5 Friday.
Cyber Monday.
Because
25% off site-wide.
25% off site-wide at For Her Outdoor Apparel. So if you want to take advantage of that on Cyber Monday, www.forheroutdoor.com. Go and check them out. What are you looking at me like that for?
I'm looking at your hat.
Oh, well, I mean, the hat. And listen, they're Richardsons. So
there you go.
There's enough to say about that. They're Richardsons. So,
there you go.
But we love Jennifer and Peyton, and we appreciate their support. And
best of luck to Peyton on Sunday.
Best of luck to Peyton on Sunday. They have a GHS and Cody. What's his name? Cody Parker is her partner. And best of luck to them. Hopefully they bring home a W.
A W.
They'll be taking out Laurel Park, and they'll be flying down the lake in that Bass Cat.
Cody, good little angle.
That's right. See, Jennifer C says, I like to drive it fast.
Yeah,
I said, how fast?
I'm the guest.
Said, it'll run mid-70s. And I said, do it.
Do it. Send it.
Send it. Jennifer will send it. So when y'all get passed by that Bass Cat, you're in trouble. So anyway, so we appreciate Jennifer. ForHerOutdoorApparel.com. Now, our another great sponsor that we have is Buford Dam Bait and Tackle.
Mm-hmm.
Buford Dam Bait and Tackle. They will be open tomorrow from 6 a.m. to 1 p.m. tomorrow. So go check out Dave and the guys. They got a lot of great stuff. They just got restocked last week with True Grit jigs. Just going to go ahead and tell you how it is right now. They already reordered more Lanier smokes. They ordered 40 Lanier smokes.
Mm-hmm.
There's something about that jig. I'm just saying.
It works.
It works.
It works.
They eat it. They eat that jig. So they're going to be restocked probably next week with about 40 more Lanier smokes.
There you go.
So you guys go down there and go check them out tomorrow. I'm going fishing tomorrow. I'm sure many other people are going to go fishing tomorrow. Swing by them tomorrow before you head to the lake after being open at 6 a.m. That's an hour before daylight. So swing in there. They got plenty of parking. Grab you one of them breakfast burritos.
They're fantastic.
Yeah, they're absolutely fantastic.
Convenience store right beside them. It's fantastic.
Store right beside them. But go to 2595 Buford Dam Road in Cumming, Georgia, 30041. Check out Dave and the guys and Alan. Tell them the boys up here at Fish North Georgia sent you. We can't say enough about them.
Very good people.
I did notice his post earlier. They are
Okay.
stocked with live bait.
They do have live bait. They're
Yep.
stocked all the way up on herring and I think what else? Shad and trout.
Be honest, I read it. I saw it. And
You got shiners. You
They
need
got
shiners.
So
Shiners what you need.
right, absolutely. So
You know what's interesting?
what?
Sitting over here from this point of view, watching you do this,
Why is it an interesting?
I find it interesting. I find it interesting.
You don't like it?
No, you're doing a fine job.
Okay, I didn't
Fine
know.
job. I'm
The
just-
boss is like he's like been gone, and and then he's like, I find it interesting.
I'm taking notes.
Taking
I am
notes,
taking
so-
notes. So
So, but you guys know me. I like to be interactive with you guys. So,
That's right. You're doing a good job.
Anything, just as long as I can crack you a smile, that's all my main goal is at the end of this. One smile. If I can make you crack one smile, I'll be happy. So, but you guys check out Buford Dam Bait and Tackle, and we appreciate Dave and the guys. And also, we have Red Bobber Gear. Pull that banner up there, Paul. Red Bobber has jumped on board with us. Go to www.redbobbergear.com. Kyle Gore, he is the owner. He's a great guy. They're local. They're here in Canton, not too far away.
we're going to carry their stuff in the store
We're going to
very
be carrying their
soon.
stuff in
We'll
the
have
store
Red
very
Bobber
soon.
apparel.
So we will
Absolutely.
have Fish North Georgia apparel, Red Bobber apparel, and For Her Outdoor apparel.
That's right. So, that's
So
what
we will
you're
have
saying.
all three. Sorry, Jennifer, I went ahead and just dropped the bomb on you. We need stuff to put in the store.
She's over here going like, okay.
She's like, all right. Yeah, we need stuff to put in the store, Jennifer, by the way. So, but check out redbobbergear.com. I'm actually got on one of his shirts tonight.
You can see the back.
That's a walking billboard right there.
Got a red bobber on the back. So, I got my For Her Outdoor apparel hat on, my red bobber t-shirt. Life is good.
Life is
I
good.
can't complain. So, but we appreciate them and we appreciate their support and we appreciate their sponsorship. And also, we have again, which I have a big announcement on this for you guys. We have J&S Contract Services. That is Jason Sayers. He
That's
is
right.
a fellow fisherman as well. Just like with all these other guys, he is a fisherman as well. All these wonderful guys and gals that we have that support us. J&S Contracted Service, they've been serving Georgia's Lake Country for over 20 years. I talked to Jason last night on the phone for a little while, and they are backed up.
Yep, he's busy.
And they are very, very busy. They do fine work. They do fine quality work, building houses, remodeling houses, and all the like. You can reach out to Jason, though, at 706-816-2049. And he also has another business, which is Elite Landscaping and Pressure Washing, also owned by Mr. Jason Sayers as well. Now, next Tuesday, I will have Jason in the boat with me on the live. He wants to go fishing with me. Why? I do not know. I suck at fishing right now.
Would you stop?
So I don't know why anyone would want to go fishing with me right now. So, but he's going to be on the live next Tuesday.
Now, he's fishing what, BFLs?
He's going to be fishing the Toyota
Series. That's
gonna
right.
be fishing
Yeah.
the Toyota series. So, Jason, he's a great guy. He sent me a bunch of pictures of some stuff that he's got for us, and it's going to be. He got some legit stuff as well.
We're going
So,
to keep up with him as he does the Toyota
We
series.
certainly
and
are.
stuff
We're
like
going to keep up with him and
Yep.
follow him along, and you guys that. You guys should support him as well. Head over to his Facebook page, follow him, and follow his journey this next coming up season on the Toyota series. So, with that being said, I think we got all the business out of the way. Paul, go to the wide shot. I will get Rachel here in just a second. You really just messed me up, dude. I'm just gonna let you know.
Always willing to help in your time of
royally
need.
messed me up because I was saving Rachel and I was saving Lanier Bates and everybody else for the second half of the show.
Go ahead. My bad.
You really screwed me up. So anyway, whatever.
I'm just sitting back
Oh
watching.
my gosh. Melinda. Oh God. Anyway,
Your wife?
redact that comment, Paul. We don't need that.
Which
We don't need
basically
that
is
right there.
saying that you're not getting your stuff done at the house.
No, I got to build her a fenced-in front porch.
Okay,
I
yeah.
never finished when we built her house.
Well, you better. You
And I
might
put
want
it
to get
off
Jason
for-
to do it. He does quality work.
I put it off for a while.
Well, you better get to it.
I've been to get to it. She wants a nice little swinging door and everything on the front.
I got a bar over here on this side. I'm not used to being over
You're
here.
not used to that, are you? Not at
Now
all.
let's keep going.
So listen. We have I told you guys yesterday we were going to have a table spread, and we really literally do have a table spread here. We've got Kentucky Fried Chicken, Taco Bell, Jennifer brought Pizza Hut and breadsticks. We got Mountain Dew.
We're set.
We're set. And we're going to eat and we're going to talk. We even got chocolate chip cookies, if that matters. I don't know. It matters to me because I'm probably going to eat 3. So we have, it's just fun. We wanted to have fun with this one. Danny keeps asking me like all day long. He's like, what's the plan? What's the plan? And I was like, just go with it, dude. We're going to talk we're going to talk bass fishing and all things fishing as we normally do. We've had some great episodes the past 2 weeks with Paul leading on. If you missed the kayak episode, for you kayakers, go back and watch that. And also last week with the striper, there will be a striper roundtable part 2.
Roy, I'm glad you got it right there.
Yeah.
So who's Ricky Bobby?
Who's Ricky Bobby?
So
Well,
who's
we
Ricky
haven't
Bobby?
said the prayer yet.
Do we need to say the prayer so we can eat?
Yeah,
So we can get
well,
talking?
I guess so. You want to?
No, you do the prayer. No, because
Okay.
you got to do it like
All
that.
right. Okay, so here we go. So you guys, all of you guys who are watching at home, please remove your hats, place them over your hand and over your heart. If you don't have a hat on, you suck.
Just say the prayer so we can eat.
So anyway, we're going to say our little prayer here. And it goes a little something like this. It says, Dear Lord, baby Jesus, 8 pounds, 7 ounces laying in that manger there in Bethlehem. We thank you for this bountiful harvest of Kentucky Fried Chicken, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut, and Mountain Dew. We appreciate everything that you have done for us and you have blessed us with. And we will forever be thankful for you. And we appreciate Fish North Georgia. And we appreciate ABA 125. And we want to give a special heartfelt throw out to Alex Pierce as he recovers from heart something. I don't know what it was.
Heart surgery.
Heart surgery.
Had some stents put in.
Heart surgery. Had some stents put in. We thank you, Lord baby Jesus, for Jennifer and for her outdoor apparel and for joining us tonight, and our wonderful producer Paul Coonan behind the board. And we thank God for my sanity that Danny has returned to Fish North Georgia and Georgia. In your heavenly name, we do pray. Amen.
Amen.
So now let's dig in.
There we go. See. So there you go.
So there we go. We're good.
Just for the record, you know who Roy is, don't you?
Ain't got a clue.
Michael.
Oh, that's Michael. Hey, there you go, Michael. How you doing?
Being
buddy?
incognito with
Incognito. I didn't recognize the Roy thing.
his
Like that, so.
alternate personality.
Sea fishing, not the show to watch while hungry. Absolutely.
Sorry about that.
That's okay. So
And I did see a comment earlier. Congratulations there, Mr. George Smith.
absolutely 5 pound spot, something
yeah.
like that. That's a
5.5,
tank.
I think is what it was.
Did you
Yeah.
get one?
555.
555. So that's impressive. That's respectable. Absolutely, it is.
George, I think Paul is downplaying you there a little bit, buddy.
So
This is coming
absolutely.
from Mr. George Slam.
Georgia Slam right there. Yeah. So
Paul.
congratulations to Paul.
Notice how many 6-pounders have popped up recently?
Not on my rods.
Not on my rod either.
Yeah, I'm not doing it good. Lead it on there, big boy. I'm the guest. I'm gonna fix me a plate while you talk.
Danny is the guest. So let's get on and dig in on this as we literally dig in. Danny is like looking for a thigh.
No, man.
He's looking for a breast.
I'm
He's
just looking
got
for
one.
a piece.
He's looking for a piece.
He wants a breast.
Don't touch my macaroni.
I'm gonna do it the right way. Give me a piece of pizza.
That is mine.
Give me a piece of pizza, and that will be perfect.
No, we are not sponsored by it. We do need us a new insurance company.
I'll work on it.
We'll work on it. We're gonna work on it.
I will work on that. So no, but that is something that if you go to State Farm, places like that, if you ask them for, it's a personal article policy. You can get that anything from your guns to your jewelry, but they'll also do your fishing rods, stuff like that. So a lot of people don't know that, but that's actually a smart investment, kind of like that to do. $75 a month, State Farm covers you. You know, you break a rod, they just buy you another one.
Yuck.
So there you go. I did my part there, Ryan. Come on, keep it going.
Like I was the coleslaw threw me off there. That's just nasty. I just hate coleslaw. I'll just go ahead and let the hate flow through the comment section.
Does that have too much flavor for you?
It's got too much mayonnaise.
It's got too much green in it.
So Ryan doesn't like anything with taste.
I don't like anything. Yeah, I like tasteful
Or
stuff.
vegetables?
I
Or
like
vegetables
tasteful
or
stuff.
mayonnaise.
Cheeseburgers are tasty.
That's
Fried
right.
chicken, macaroni, all kinds of stuff. So fishing.
Yes,
Yeah, fishing.
you've been on the water.
Well, while we're doing this, why don't
Buttered noodles to you, or do you put something else on it?
What?
Is macaroni buttered noodles to you, or do you put something else?
No, it's got cheese on it, man. You know, I'm being serious about that. I like my
Is
macaroni.
that
I like my
Velveeta
macaroni. It's KFC mac and cheese. So I don't know what all that consists of. So Paul's gonna come over here. It looks like he's gonna.
He's going to adjust.
Oh, he's
because
adjusting the camera because
Because
it
my
looks
short-
Danny looks. He makes Danny look short. So.
What, you had to lower the camera?
he did have to lower the camera. So
So fishing right now. Fishing, in my opinion, right now is excellent. In my opinion,
It's been quite a turn.
it's been quite the turnaround from September and October, where it was just like brutal.
Well, we
And
finally got some cold temperatures.
We finally
and
got
little-
some cold temperatures.
little rain.
The water temperatures are finally dropping across the board. What
what's
was the
that do?
reports from Chateau?
They called them up there.
Well, I know
They
that,
called-
but I'm talking about water temperatures. Because Alex Prince won, he had 19 even.
19 even, and then
he's pretty good.
he's
He's a pretty good angler.
and then right behind
He's hot.
him was Jack Green, and right behind him was Larry Hollingsworth.
Okay.
And that's from the ABA.
Yeah.
Okay.
They
125.
they pretty much said everything was starting to transition to the ditches.
Okay.
Yeah. So see, that's the other thing too. It's like right now is everything is starting to transition finally into the ditches, into the backs of these creeks and into these main lake ditches and stuff. The main lake ditches not so much, but a lot of these ones that are in the mouths of the creeks, there's been a lot of bait starting to pile up, which in turn this time of year makes the fish come. And just it makes fishing all around a whole lot better. Makes things a little bit more predictable.
Right.
Is the biggest thing.
So I'm curious, how far down is Allatoona right now, Ron? You're talking about fishing and it needing to be muddied up a little bit because it's so clear.
They ain't dropped it much.
Has it not? Is
I
it
think
not like
last
normal?
time I looked, it was right at 7 foot.
Only
Down.
7 foot. Now this
Down.
time last year it was a lot heavier than that.
Mhm.
I'm just interested in watch how y'all going to talk while you're eating.
Oh, don't worry about me, big boy.
He can do it.
I can do it.
But
Oh Lord,
Ron just said 10
10
foot.
foot. That's
10 foot.
that's down a lot.
That ain't down a lot.
Jumping up to Farmer's comment there. He's saying hello from the quarantine zone.
Yeah,
I
got the flu.
think the flu's running through his house pretty hard and heavy.
Got
right
that.
now.
So let me ask you a question
Ask me a question.
from the guest to the host.
Sure. I mean, that's what happened last week.
That's-
Last 2 weeks.
that's just-
You should have been here last week.
I know. I should have. So what makes the bait transition to the ditches and stuff like that? Is it just the time of is it like the daytime or the temperature?
Water temperature.
Water temperature.
Yeah.
And so what is the magic temperature that makes the bait go up into the ditches?
That's really debatable. Because I mean, like 2 weeks ago, we were catching fish on ditch diggers and underspins.
Mm-hmm.
And already Bronson and I were at least. We didn't catch no mag bag of spots or anything, but we had a mixed bag of largemouth and spots, and we caught probably close to 5 limits
Okay.
between a ditch digger and underspin and the Alabama rig and a spinner bait. Like I said, we didn't really catch no big giant bag of nothing, but we had some success. We had a respectable little bag for the day. We didn't even sniff a check because everyone seemed to have 16, 17 pounds,
Which is good.
which was really good. But this time of year specifically, especially when the water temperature really kind of gets below 60,
Mhm.
there gets a really, really big push for the bait to start trying to find some of that colder water. And the bait wants to find some of that colder water and that cooler water because if you guys watch and pay attention to what we say,
Lord.
in all of our glory that
Mhm.
we are at Fish North Georgia, cooler water temperatures hold oxygen better. And that's all the bait is looking for right now is cooler water temperatures for better oxygenated water. It's just to me, the magical period is around 55 degrees. When we get below 55 degrees at 55 and a little below 55, you can pretty much catch them on like anything you pretty much want. There's really not really many rules
Right.
as long as it's some kind of bait imitator.
I got you.
So, jerk baits, crank baits, spinner baits, chatter baits, swim baits, you name it. Spoons, anything that you're trying to imitate dying bait fish with and starting to emulate dying bait fish with.
So I want to say hey to John Alred, who come up here today and spent some time with us, and Buddha. Dylan's got a good question there. What is the best way to find a ditch? I'm
Password.
still trying to figure everything out.
All right, can I give my answer to that?
Absolutely.
You get the answer because
Dylan, I'm sure you have a smartphone. So get the Navionics app. It's like $20 a year. It's got all the lakes, the contours, and all that. It's real easy. Just start looking up in these pockets, looking in these creeks, and just look for the ditch. And it's kind of hard to say exactly where they're going to be in the ditch. You're going to have to spend a little time with your graph on the water, find the bait, find where they're at. But if you are looking in several different creeks and the fish are you're finding them on your graph in 24, 25, 26 foot, then you've already looked and studied that Navionics map. So you're going to know where to go in that creek to find them in that ditch. Now, once you do find them in the ditch, there's a couple of different approaches. I'll give a little juice tonight.
All right, get some juice.
A lot of people throw and pull it down the center of the ditch, and a lot of times you'll catch them. But sometimes where the ditch comes down right in those curves, the fish will hang right in the curves. So if you'll get crossways and drag it across the bottom of the ditch, if you're not getting bit coming down the ditch, you'll get bit coming side to side in the ditch.
Yeah.
But spend some time looking at that Navionics app. If you know a particular part of the lake you want to fish, start looking in the creeks, the pockets, at how the ditches move. Now, I try to find locations where a ditch will go up against a steep bank where there's a pretty good drop off, because during the cooler temperatures. So what?
You are giving away juice.
Because
away what makes a good one. What difference?
I told you I was going to give some juice. A lot of times when you got that steep drop off during the winter, when you get those warmer days, you'll get those fish that'll move up out of the ditch onto that wall or bluff or whatever it is right there. So it just takes a little bit of time studying contour maps. If you don't have the Navionics and you've got the old paper map, you can do the same thing. If you've got a graph with a good GPS in it, mapping card that shows the contours, you can do it with it also. I use the Navionics. I know a lot of guys, because you can sit there on the couch and look at a lake you're going to and go, okay, I want to try here. I want to look here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, see maps.
But I think too, if you're just out on a boat, if you just take some time and look at the terrain,
yeah,
I mean, you can tell that kind of in your mind. You can picture, I've got a slope coming down this way, I've got a slope coming down that way, and if you just kind of in your mind picture if the water weren't there, it's not going to be perfect like it would on that, but you can kind of get a good idea, pretty much, unless it's a really wide creek, of where that ditch is going to be. Just for somebody that doesn't have, the electronics and stuff, you can kind of get it, the feel. Mm-hmm. Feel for that like that.
You certainly can.
And if you got a steep bank on one side and a gentle slope on the other, then that one with the steep shoreline is going to be your
absolutely
typically your better side.
So
the best ditch bait. That can be really debatable. There's a lot of good ditch baits.
Do police need that kind of help?
Probably not. But I will say this, that I did not fish ditches a lot, especially on that, until last year when I got to fishing with you and just watching the way you did with the ditch digger and stuff, how you approached it coming down. Mm-hmm. One thing that you, and I think it might be important for all the things, you talk about how you like to keep contact with the bottom when you're pulling a ditch.
That is most important.
You got to keep you don't have to, but it for you, that's one of the most important things, to keep contact with the bottom and not stay up in the water column. You're in the bottom of the water column.
A lot of the ways these fish will set up is basically they'll have the bait ball up here. So this table spread is the middle of the ditch. Go back to wide shot. This table spread here is the middle of the ditch. Right here, we have this all lined up.
I'm the hill on the side.
He's the hill on the side over here.
I'm the slope.
We're the slope. We're the slope.
It's
what it is.
Oh, dumb. This is the way it is. So the bait will be up here in the top. These fish will hang out down here in the bottom. So these fish will be like the cookies, and they're down here because that's what we're looking for. We won't catch cookies anyway. So they'll be down here. When you maintain contact with the bottom and you throw something like a ditch digger, or you throw something like an underspin, whether it's a Sugar Hill Baits sweet spin or a spot choker, as you're basically running it down through here on the bottom, and you're basically going to run it by these fish, and they're basically just going to come by them, and they're just going to go and follow it, and then you're going to keep it rolling. You're going to speed is of the essence on this because you're going to maintain a very slow retrieve.
It is slow.
It is a very slow retrieve until one of them, and they'll basically gang up behind it, and they'll be like this, and here's the bait, your bait coming, and they'll gang up behind it, and then one of them will finally make a decision and it'll bite.
Right.
And then that fires up the entire school. So that, and it's pretty, you'll know too, the one thing, I get a lot of these comments as gets made to me. It's like, well, how do I know I'm fishing where fish are and stuff? I said, well, if you do this and you use one of those baits and you do exactly the way that I'm saying, and then many other people will say it as well, it's not just me. They'll typically let you know within the first cast or two if there are any of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
it doesn't take very long.
No, it don't.
It's not like trying to fish a shaky head on a point and be like, where exactly are they at?
I will say this: one time we went, and I'm gonna get the stretchy mono, which, by the way, I've not seen that name before.
That's an interesting name.
That's a new one. I like it. Glad you're here tonight. But I'm gonna get to that question. But I want one comment. We went into a creek last year.
Mm-hmm.
People go look for bait. You immediately pulled up and left because you said it had too much bait.
Yes, there is
too much bait. So you actually can get in a situation where you're just seeing clouds and clouds and clouds of bait. And it kind of is almost the reverse of no bait. It's kind of like a waste of time.
Yes.
Well, it was a few weeks ago. He was saying he had pulled up in a creek and the bait was so thick that his graph 1 minute was showing he was in 2 foot of water and then 35 foot of water and 2 foot of water because the bait was just
so just because you find bait, the key is the right amount of bait too, like that. Pull up stretchy mono right there. This is an interesting comment because we don't get a lot of Oconee comments, so that's why I want to make sure we read that. Oconee bass are on the top edge of the ditches recently, 56 to 59 surface degree. Suspend on a bright sunny day. They come up a little bit. So that's Oconee. Now, does Oconee have spots? I mean, I don't fish.
Oconee has spots,
but not like Lanier. So he's probably more largemouth right there.
Yeah, he's primarily.
So let's go with that. Does a largemouth and a spot get in a ditch, and how do they act? Is it similar or different?
Well,
I love picking guys on the spot.
Well, I've been with him and I've been with Jonathan and caught spots and largemouth out of the same ditch.
Right.
I
think a lot of people think a largemouth won't go in a ditch.
That's where he lives all year.
Yeah, I mean, that to me, I think it's just they think ditches.
Well,
my point, especially up here, they think ditches, they think spots.
Yeah,
but largemouth are there too.
It used to be that way typically on Lanier. You wouldn't catch largemouth.
Well, I lost a giant last year on Lanier largemouth that was in the bottom of a ditch.
Yeah. Now, are they as aggressive as the spots? Or are they still, because of the cold water, they're typically a little slower?
You got to put it in front of their head, just about.
And he picked it up. I never felt the bite. I just felt or saw the line start to swim off.
Gotcha.
So,
hey, pull up one above Ron's comment right there, if you don't mind. There was one or two right above it, right under Joey's comment right there. How soon will a lip bite again after spitting a jig at the boat? And will it stay in that general area forever?
It will stay in that general area, but it's going to be a bit.
Bite immediately.
It's going to be a bit, especially if you lose it at the boat.
Well, you and I have had this conversation. I think it was FLW last year before last. One of the guys caught a fish. I think he was on a crankbait or spinnerbait, and he had the A-rig stuck in his face. So,
I mean, eventually they'll bite again.
Yeah,
but that initial shock, they're sore lip for a little bit. They're not going to hit.
I mean, if you lose one at the boat on a jig,
unless it was on the bed, like I think Nathan.
Unless it's on the bed, but bed is a completely
different ball game. So,
it's gonna be a while.
Just belch right in the bathroom. All right, pull it on back down there.
I did.
And Ron Pendergrass had a good comment too.
You guys are coming with questions tonight.
It's good.
I've been begging for.
Right. So Ron also talked, Dylan, if you're still watching, run off right up there from bridges in the ditches. Yep, it's good pattern as well. And especially if it's got a running creek coming into it, stuff like that. I mean, that's just a given. So now let me ask you this: at this time of the year, a lot of people pattern them where early in the morning the fish are pushing the bait up shallow.
Yep.
Now, has that started already?
Oh yeah.
All right. So how do you approach a ditch early in the morning and as the sun gets up and comes back out?
Well, the way I fish ditches is a little bit, I guess, is to some ditch experts that fish ditches. I do it wrong, is what I've been told.
Okay.
But I don't have any issue with it. I mean,
What
I have
works-
some pretty good. This is one of my best times of the year.
What
where I
works
can
for
catch some
me
weight.
may not work for you. What works for
Right.
you may not work for
Right.
me. So I don't think there is a technical right way to fish.
How
a
did I
ditch
show
or
you how I do it?
Well, we approached, depending on what area you're talking about. We started throwing down the center
But where?
in the back of
In the very back.
You started in the
of
back,
creek.
started
Back.
shallow.
I started shallow.
Yeah.
And we worked our way out as the day went on.
Mm-hmm.
And we
Deeper
worked
and
our way
deeper.
out deeper and deeper and deeper as the day goes
Yeah.
on. And that's pretty much typically how I approach it. A lot of people throw underspins and stuff like that for like the first hour and a half. You're messing up. You need to throw it all day long.
All right.
If you're going to commit to it like that and you're going to ditch fish like that, you need to throw it all day long.
So even with the blade, I know like with the ditch digger, it's got no blade. We're
Right.
keeping contact with the bottom, even with an underspin. Same thing, contact with the bottom the entire time.
Yep.
Just
Pretty
letting
much.
the blade
Pretty
tick
much.
off the bottom.
Pretty much.
All right.
Counting the grains of sand.
Count the grains of sand. So let's say we've got somebody watching and they're going to go to a ditch with an underspin. What is one of the best trailers that you put on the back of it, in your opinion?
Kitech.
So you like the Kitech, you like the
That's
paddle
mine.
tail.
That's my boot tail swim bait.
Okay.
Paddle tail swim bait.
I know a lot of people will use a fluke.
Mhm.
You know, they'll do that kind of too.
Or
So
the little Strike King Z2s. And
right,
that kind of
stuff like that. So you want to keep, but regardless, no matter what you do, and let me ask you this: when you're going, instead of coming right down the middle, you're going, I guess,
Side
was
to
it
side.
perpendicular or whatever it is
Yeah.
to the ditch? Do you keep contact coming down the slope and through it?
Yep.
The same way.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, once I hit the bottom and start coming up,
Yep.
I'll only come up just a little ways
Okay.
and then go ahead and reel it in.
But you're still going to definitely stay in the lower part of the water
Yeah.
column where you do that.
And
Y'all keep talking. I'm reading.
You just got to watch your
Yeah.
graph and figure out where the fish are at.
Right. But
And
generally,
then,
as the sun comes up, they will kind of
They will
slowly move back towards the
bait will
timber,
move
at
out
least on the
towards
near.
the bait will move out towards the safety of the timber line,
Right.
and they basically will get up in the around the timber line because they use it as cover. And the bass pretty much like hang out in the timber line or at the bottom of the timber line in like 40 feet of water,
Right.
and they will basically ambush them when they're hungry.
That makes sense.
And they'll keep
Tim
keep them
McGuire's
there.
comment there.
Yeah. Well, I hope, Dustin, I hope that answered your question right there of where you started. Real quick, does Oconee have bluebacks?
Yes,
Okay, so there you go. That
they're
answers
not
the-
very healthy. Is a good way maybe to put that.
So Oconee's just a
It's-
different
it's
kind of
not-
lake. It
it's
doesn't
not like
sustain it like
Lanier.
Lanier.
Yeah, it's I don't know how well the bluebacks will hold up in Oconee because Oconee, Mr. Derek Morris was up here the other day and we got to talk about Oconee. That's where he fishes a bunch. He's told me, he said Oconee's abnormally clear right now, and he said when I say abnormally clear, it's like deathly clear. Was the way he
And that's
said it.
usually a
They
stained
normally
up
got
lake.
a
And
pretty good stain to
Oconee
it.
normally keeps a good stain to
Yeah.
it.
Right.
Being said, though, that allows for light penetration, and the bluebacks love the sun. We all know that. That's why there's topwater bite in the middle of the day in the summertime.
Right.
Because they're up near the surface. They're up near the surface, getting up to the sun. So with light penetration, Oconee generally staying pretty stained. I don't know how well that's going to help the population of the bluebacks.
Well,
But bluebacks are also too. They're kind of when they get hold. You guys that fish Alatoona
that's right.
specifically,
Yeah.
your guys are starting to realize this. That when they start taking a hold, it's over. They're going to start.
Yeah,
they're going to start blowing up. They're going to start expanding.
Where 2-3 years ago, well, let's go back 3 years. I only saw one school that I was like, I think that's bluebacks.
hmm
And it went from that to the next year to seeing multiple and knowing it was blueback
Right.
to this past year. Early on, several different places throughout
Right,
the
you're seeing
lake,
'em.
bigger schools, and no doubt of what it is.
So let me ask you this: so the water, you're talking about the water quality of Oconee compared to, being clear, abnormally clear, compared to like Allatoona, because when I think clear, I think Lanier.
Mhm.
Okay, so I could be wrong. I don't fish
Mhm.
Allatoona as much as you do. Compare the stain on Allatoona to the stain on Oconee for those of us that aren't as familiar with Oconee. Is
Night
it
and day.
normally
Night and day.
okay? So is
Night and day.
Oconee normally a lot dirtier?
Yes.
Okay.
Oconee,
Oconee, you
I've
catch
fished
fish out of the
Oconee,
mud.
Sinclair
Right.
a good bit.
Mm-hmm.
Oconee is about like Allatoona is on the north end,
When it muddies up a little bit.
3 or 4 days after a rain,
Right. So it's
where
stained.
it's
but not-
stained and starting
Okay.
to kind of clear up a little bit. That's
I
the
got
normal
you.
color of Oconee.
Jamie Payne wants to know what's your rod and reel setup for the ditch digger or the underspin.
I actually have my rods actually upstairs, but I throw it on a 7.2 medium action rod with a 6.4 to 1 gear ratio reel,
So you slow it down.
slowing it down, and I throw it exclusively on 12-pound fluorocarbon.
That I knew.
I don't go no higher than 12 because I feel like it gives me a little bit better of a natural or presentation with the bait when you're reeling it with 12-pound compared to 15.
Yeah.
The only reason I switched from 15 to 12, or I initially started throwing them, I threw it on 15. Then it was pure stroke of luck. I was like, man, I had a tournament the next day and it was late already and I was re-rigging. I was like, man, I ain't need I backlashed my reel and I had to pull a bunch of line off. I said, I ain't got enough line. I don't have enough 15. And I had some 12, had a brand new spool of 12. I was like, well, I guess this will be all right. My buddy, we fished out of his boat. I was in the back, he was in the front. I out caught him that next day like 5-1.
So you think the
with
line made
12-pound
you think the
fluorocarbon
line
with
made the
15,
difference.
and he was in the
See,
front of the
I
boat.
fish it
and I
on
was in the
10.
back.
So you go lighter.
I fish it
Lighter,
on
I
10.
think is better, and that's
I fish
just
it
me
on-
personally.
And it depends on the bite. If they are nailing the fool out of it, I'll fish it on a usually a little over 7 foot, medium heavy.
Mhm.
If they're just slow biting it,
Right.
because I am pretty quick on the hook set,
Mm-hmm.
I'll put it on glass rod to get a little more bend so I won't take it away.
You and your glass.
I
rod.
got you. With that. So Dustin wants to know if you're throwing a 1/2-inch ditch digger in the back of the ditch as well. And that's absolutely yes.
Yes.
I mean, he'll throw that up as far as he can possibly throw it and work it right down the middle.
Mhm.
And you like that extra weight just to kind of help keep it down and keep contact with the bottom and all that.
Uncover water faster with a 1/2 ounce.
And you can.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. I'm going to throw a little curveball because we're talking underspins. We're talking ditch diggers, ball-headed jigs down the bottom.
Mhm.
Let's say you don't have any of those in your boat. What is your next best alternative to ditch fishing without those? Come on. Spill it. You know what? I'm taking over here. I'm going to get it out of you. You're spilling juice.
I mean,
No, I'm talking. Dane's smiling at me like I don't want to tell you, Danny.
Starts with a J and ends with Irk bait.
jerk bait.
Dirt bait.
Jerk bait is a good option, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with taking a shaky head and putting a Kitech or a swimmer on it and working it just like anything else. Just
So-
like the same baits.
So
There's absolutely nothing wrong with it.
this might be a question for you, being more of an Allatoona guy. So
Mhm.
we know they got bluebacks. We know they got alewives.
Mhm.
We've heard they got both. Whereas Carter's 100% alewives, I assume, and in Lanier, I would say it's probably dominant bluebacks. But Jeremiah wants to know, in a few years, which of those two will be the dominant bait fish in Allatoona,
Blueback,
and why?
because they taste good.
As he's chowing down that piece of chicken, they
Yeah.
taste good.
They do. No, I mean,
I have
I was
watched
being
the way
funny.
the,
Yeah.
I'm
the
being serious.
LYs have taken over Carter's.
They have. The backwoods boys, Jeremy boy, he just can't stand them.
Yeah, and I'll tell
But
you,
that's the
I'm
unique
a little
situation that it's
concerned and
Cardinal.
leery.
Uh-huh.
But-
You need to not be concerned.
It'll be interesting to see.
You need to not be
Um,
concerned.
So stretch.
What does Allatoona develop every year?
what do you mean?
What does Allatoona develop every year? What happens in Allatoona every summer?
This is
It develops a thermocline.
Yeah, thermocline.
Can you live below thermocline?
No.
Absolutely. Do you think the alewives can go below the thermocline? If
Don't
you can't-
even
I'm
look
gonna
at
say
me
no.
for help. I
I'm
don't
gonna say
You
no.
can't go below the thermocline because there's no oxygen down there. How can you go below the thermocline? They'll suffocate.
Okay.
Well, in the way they pump
Does
Carter's back
Carter's
and forth.
have a thermocline?
I've not run into it.
Carter's does not have a thermocline.
Okay.
There is no limit to how deep and how anything that the fish can go.
So are you saying that alewives prefer the deep water over bluebacks?
Alewives do like deep water.
Okay, well, there you go. So now
But they're not going to be. But it's going to keep. It's still going to keep the fish. It's still going to keep the fish in that catchable range.
Right.
You know, other than in the winter. But see, Altoona every winter isn't going to have the Lanier problem or the Carter's problem. What's the goal of Altoona every year? They drop down 20 feet.
A lot.
16, 17.
They're not going to have that massively crazy deep water to get into. And there are some areas where it is crazy deep.
Mm-hmm.
But in general, like on Carter's, for example, they're not going to be able to go that deep. And you got and see alewives, even though alewives go deep, they still will come to the surface. They still will come to the surface. They do not live closer to the surface like bluebacks do, but they still will come to the surface.
Yeah. Where you look at the ABA tournament up on Carter's first part of November,
Right.
all the guys that I talked to that caught fish were in that 25 to 60 foot range.
And that's a big discrepancy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's not 20 to 30.
Nothing on
You know,
Carter's.
It is
There's
nothing
nothing
on
on
Carter's.
Carter's.
That is. But to somebody who's never fished Carter's and you say 25 to 60
60
foot, I mean, that's a big jump.
On
I just don't
Certain-
think bass will go that deep regularly.
Yeah.
They just won't.
well,
A bass probably ain't going to live its life in 80 feet of water.
He's just
We're having
driving down.
Thanksgiving.
You keep eating. That's why I saw how hungry you are, so that's why I'm helping you out. You eat. Y'all enjoy that.
Brother, if there's food out there, they're going.
Yeah, get you some,
And
Paul.
that's how it be.
So
It is how it be.
absolutely get some. So Stretchy Mono had a good comment about a Carolina rig. Well,
They're pretty good at that drum, boy.
yeah, get that. So
him and the bucket of chicken.
Oh, God.
hand him the bucket of chicken. So Carolina rig, but again, that is kind of the same premise. I'll get it. I'm talking
Carolina rig.
down the middle of a ditch. That's what Stretchy Mono. I like that name, Stretchy Mono.
That is a good name.
It is a good name. That's a good
Stretchy
name.
P-line.
Yeah, anyway, Stretchy Mono. That's what we'll call the show, the new show, Stretchy Mono.
Stretchy Mono.
We'll call
Stretchy Mono with Danny Pruitt.
Stretchy Mono with Danny Pruitt, like
I'm your
that.
host, Danny Pruitt. This is Stretchy Mono.
That's Stretchy Mono.
Oh, Lord.
Every episode, you're going to see me stretch my mono.
Oh Lord, there are women present.
Photos.
Keep it clean. Little Cleo is fantastic at tuna in the creek channels. There you go. And that's I haven't thrown one of those in quite a while.
In a row, we've mentioned a little Cleo.
Ryan says the chicken is getting cold. He's trying his best.
I want to make a comment about the Carolina rig in the ditches, though.
Okay, go for it.
They don't want to bite it.
Well, it sounds like he's had luck. Do you think it's a difference between
He's on
these?
Oconee.
That's what I'm saying. Is that a largemouth compared to a spot thing?
Probably.
Because I know a lot of people love a Carolina rig in the wintertime.
Someone's getting arrested.
Pickens County finest going by right here.
I
So you haven't had any luck on it, is what you're saying.
no.
What about you, Dane? You throw a Carolina rig at all?
I grew up fishing St. Clair Oconee.
Okay, so you know a little bit
I
about
cut
it.
my teeth throwing a Carolina rig. And on Carolina rig, I have thrown everything from a creature bait to a lizard to a finesse worm, right down to a Kitech. I have put a Kitech on there and taken a syringe and shot a little air
A little air in it.
to get it to float up.
Fluke on a sea rig's what he come back with. So basically what he's doing is the same thing, except letting the fluke just kind of float off the bottom, drag behind just a little bit. He's using the weight up front on the Carolina rig to keep that contact on the ground. Same kind of premise, I think, but I imagine you probably do it a little slower. When you think so, that's like basically ditch digger, all that stuff, but just on a very slow. I mean, it makes sense. We might try it.
I mean, we can try.
We can try it.
I mean,
We
If
can
it
do an
works,
experiment.
If it works, keep chunking it.
We can do an experiment like that. North Georgia fishermen. Well, first of all, Jeremiah, you do need a boat. I want to run A-rigs on bluffs. It's actually pretty fun. Ron says smallmouths will go that deep. We're talking about when you're talking about 60 foot and all that from time to time, all that, which makes total sense to me.
I didn't say they wouldn't go that deep.
Yeah.
They just don't live down there.
Right. The top three ditch baits. Now, again, I think we've established some type of an underspin
I'm
or
biased.
You are biased.
I'll be biased.
Go ahead.
A ditch digger with a Kitech,
We sell a lot of them.
a Alabama rig, and jerkbait.
Okay, so Alabama rig coming down the ditch. Are you still deep? Same thing? Or are you keeping it up a little bit?
I'll throw an Alabama rig in 5 feet of water all the way out to 40.
Okay, but when you're throwing it in 40, your upper, middle, or lower water column?
Depends on where fish are.
Okay,
I'll-
so you've already found the fish before you start throwing
I'll
them?
drag one. I'll drag one.
Do you use it as
I've
a
lost
search
a
bait?
mini dragging it on the
Do
bottom.
you use an Alabama rig as a search bait, though?
You can, but I personally, I don't love to.
Mm-hmm.
I like to do it where when I throw a ditch digger, the first thing comes to my mind, and Bronson's not watching. I don't think Bronson's watching. If he's watching, he can chime in because he can back me up on this. Because he's heard me say this. I said, I'll be throwing a ditch digger. Bite. Oh, there's bite. Oh, there's bite. That's not the same fish biting it. Let me go ahead and reiterate that again for the people in the back. That's not the same fish biting the bait. A double bite, multiple bite is not the same fish trying to bite the bait. It's multiple. When I get that instance where they just boom and I grab it, there's probably not that many down there. There's a handful that you probably get to bite.
I see what you're saying.
But if I get boom, oh, boom, oh, boom, oh, and then finally one gets it, set the hook, get that fish to the boat. The next thing that's coming out is not the ditch digger.
Hey, Paul,
I'm grabbing the A rig and I'm chunking the A rig.
would you put up www.truetackle or True Grit Tackle Company?
Did True Grit Tackle Company?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was about to say.
Yeah, .com. Actually, I want to tell everybody if that through. When did we cut that off? When did your the special for giving away
it'll be the Thursday before Thanksgiving. It'll be
before Thanksgiving?
Those last
the Thursday before
Christmas.
the Thursday of Christmas.
Okay,
Before
so
Christmas,
it-
because we will be giving away the thing
That's
on the
right.
Livewell that
That's
night.
right. So if you go to truegrittackle.com, you can get the ditch diggers there. And if you order
If you order $50 worth of ditch
$50 worth
diggers-
of ditch diggers, jigs, shaky heads, whatever, between now and
Stop this up.
the Thursday before Christmas,
Should be some honey.
you'll be entered into a free drawing, and the winner will win 1 year supply of True Grit hand-tied jigs.
Somewhere around the 150 to 200 ballpark range.
Yeah,
for
so
a
if
year.
you wanna-
no, I will not give you 200 in 1 week.
Yeah, so I mean, we will make sure though that you don't. We will make sure that you don't have to buy a jig for a year.
Share 'em to me.
That's right. So 50 Lanier smokes. Hey, listen, I tell everybody if Ryan ties 1,000 jigs, 750 of them are Lanier smokes. That is the jig. I don't care what anybody says. They work. But let me give you one suggestion just to help change it out. The Chef Special works on Lanier very well too. It's got the green pumpkin with a little purple in it and all that. And that's actually my favorite Lanier jig. I know everybody throws the smoke. I actually throw the Chef Special.
The farmers works on Lanier.
Farmers
and
works-
on Alatoona.
Farmer Special works on all your Clearwater
I'll
lakes.
just be flat out honest with you guys. Yesterday afternoon, when I turned the camera off, I threw a True Grit Lanier smoke behind Steve Pinkston. Steve's watching. He can tell you. I threw that damn jig.
Didn't catch nothing.
I didn't get a bite.
Well, that just means they weren't biting. That just means they weren't biting. But if you go from now to the
I don't personally have
what's the date?
The date?
The date? No, the end of the drawing. So the
It was
Thursday.
December 23rd.
Okay. Sheesh. Yeah. So the Thursday before Thanksgiving on the live well that night we will
Christmas.
draw. Yeah, right before Christmas we will draw and see who the winner is to get.
Yep. I only
A
got,
year's supply.
And I only got 2 people in the hat right now.
Hey, there you go. So
That's
you
all I
guys,
got.
hey, jump on right there. So, that's kind of interesting. People find a bait, and this kind of changed topics just a little bit. People find a bait that they have some confidence on. And that Lanier smoke, we sell a ton of them, and people use them. They send us pictures that it works. We really don't fish that color that much.
I don't.
I don't fish it. I fish Chef's. I mean, that's my one jig I go to is Chef Special. And you know it. Every time we're on there, I said, if I break out, you got any more
I
chefs?
developed that jig for me.
I know. I said, you got any chefs? No. I'm like, it just drives me crazy. His own jig and he ain't got it on the boat.
Ask Jonathan Farmer what they do on a Chef Special on a blowdown.
Oh, they'll tear it
They
up.
will swim out. Farmers swim and go.
I will tell
they'll
you
swim over
this.
there and bite
I will
it.
tell you this. I've thrown that thing beside docks on Lanier, just not even flipping it under. It's almost like, you know how a good catfish bite is where they just run with it? I've had spots just absolutely just almost jerk the pole out of my. But I don't throw the Lanier smoke. But everybody
He
does.
said pole.
Pole, rod, whatever. Listen, saltwater is getting on to me. That's what they call it
They
down
call
there.
them poles.
They call it everything. So like that. I've actually got an FX rod and a Daiwa reel in the bottom of Port St. Joe
I
right
know, I
now.
heard you. I heard that.
Awful.
Josh told me all about it.
Good stained water rig.
We haven't heard about it.
So
They got in a hurry.
we got in a hurry going through the bay, and they did. I wasn't on the boat, and they had. I brought a bunch of poles down there. Again, I said poles like that for you guys. Had a bunch of rods and all that I took down there, and they come up to me, and the
That's
producer.
not how Josh described it.
So the producer goes, "Well, we all of my rods got thrown off the boat, and Guillermo, the most interesting man in the world. I met the most interesting man in the world."
Tell him the story when you woke up that one morning and you walked outside and you were like,
Okay, so
and then you said all of a sudden,
let me tell you this. So Black's Island is in the middle of
I'll be back.
the bay down there at Port St. Joe. That's where we stayed for a week.
This is hilarious.
And because of the hurricanes down there and all that, basically all the villas or whatever they call them, they're all raised up 13 feet. So you're walking to my right.
Nope, sorry.
Dane or Danny? Oh,
I was
okay.
blocking this camera. Sorry. My
So
bad.
anyway, you're walking above the island. And so Guillermo, he runs the island. He describes himself as the most interesting, crazy Mexican you've ever met. That's his words, not mine. And he is a super cool dude. But they have ducks, they have turkeys, chickens, all kinds of stuff on the island, rabbits and all that. So I wake up one morning and I stretch and I'm walking out. I got a cup of coffee and I'm walking down this walkway and I get to this certain section. I hear pow. And all of a sudden the worst squeal I've ever heard in my entire life is going on right under. It scared the daylights out of me. So I stop, I freeze, and I keep hearing this screaming, and I hear this thud, 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 thud. And I'm like, what in the heck's going on? So I peer over the side. Guillermo's got a rabbit by the ears. He's just beating it in the back of the head because he's going to eat it here for breakfast and all that. That's the kind of crazy stuff but it scared the daylights out of me just walking down. That's not what you expect first thing in the morning. And I just looked down and I went, morning, Guillermo. And just kept on walking because it's just normal. They cooked the pig in the ground, ate cow head. I think I mentioned that to you. And cow brains.
What you ate? Yeah,
I had cow brains.
Cow brains.
Cow brains.
Just they boiled the head down there, had a whole head of a cow, skinned, of course, boiled it. He goes, we're going to eat tacos. So I said, all right, this ought to be interesting. We're filming all this. So they had the meat off the cheeks. Tastes like roast beef in a taco. I mean, it was really good.
Look at Jennifer.
Then they pull out.
There's a trash can.
Yeah. So then they pull out the cow tongue. All right. He rips the membrane, outer membrane off, and inside that meat's just like roast beef. So I had a cow tongue taco. And then his brother, who came down for the last couple nights, he goes, you got to eat the brain, man. And I'm like, well, you know me, I'll eat anything. So they flip the skull over. They hand me a spoon. He goes, just stick it in there like ice cream. So I just went in there, got me a handful of brain, and said, all right, here you go. Held it up to the camera and just stuck it in my mouth. Very interesting. Tastes like paste. Doesn't taste good, doesn't taste bad, just tastes like paste. So, well, I'm not going to say that it was
Look at me, Paul.
it was the most interesting thing I've ever eaten, but, you know, that guy can cook everything.
And this is now the first and last time Jennifer will be here.
So, Jennifer, let me tell you this, too. So, you know, they got to kill the cow, right? Well, I didn't really pay attention, but right on the top of that cow's skull was a hole. That's pop. They popped it. So when I got that big scoop of brains and threw it in my mouth, I had fragments. I had like skull fragments all in and everything. It was neat. But hey, you know what? It was, and Guillermo's got, and I got his number. You guys, I need to get Guillermo up here. The guy was raised up on like not professional bass, but like working ship boats and stuff like that, going out, long haulers, stuff like that. He has one knife. And like I said, this guy's the most amazing cook I've ever met in my life. But he's got one knife. Whatever he skins, he cuts up next thing, and next thing you know, he's making the best margaritas you ever had, and he's stirring them with that knife. And he don't clean it. He will not clean that knife. And so he said, oh, man, one knife for everything. And so he was.
One knife for everything.
And I don't know, I might tell you, we're fishing for redfish on this pontoon. And he and I on the front, and you got all the camera guys in the back, and they're filming us. And Guillermo hooks into one. All right. And so I've got a microphone on. You could wade in the water most places, but I couldn't get in the water because it was too deep. Guillermo's got a fish hook, and we're on the front of the boat, and he thinks it's a big bull red. And so all of a sudden it's flying around, and he's going, this pontoon's got a cover. So he's working his pole all the way through. And next thing I know, he is flying off the back of the boat. Like, I mean, Superman fighting this fish in the water. It was like one of the most, that guy is one of the most amazing guys I've ever seen. But you guys get to see him. Yeah, dude. I mean, seriously. I mean, he fixes everything. He's just everything. And then goes into Port St. Joe, and everybody knows him. He's like a celebrity in that town.
That's cool.
It is cool. He's a cool dude. You guys will see it.
Yeah.
How was Black's Island? Like I said, it was very nice. And if you guys ever get a chance to go down, it opens up full time spring of 23. So right now it's got like a soft opening and all that. It's got like 27 villas. They're all raised, 26, all raised up. It's got a big clubhouse. Actually, the history of that island was pirates actually used it, which I can't figure out because that bay is so shallow and all that. But pirates would actually hide on that thing and everything. So you guys are going to see it. It's interesting. The best thing was being in that tropical storm on it because I've never experienced that. So,
that's pretty cool.
Yeah, Guillermo's an interesting fella. We met a lot of cool people down there. I ate more oysters.
How did he talk?
Let me think of the right way to say it with a Spanish accent.
Don't do it.
I said it like that. I said it right. He said all kinds of stuff. He cussed like a sailor. I mean, seriously, it was very interesting. Great guy though.
So did you learn any new words?
I can't say them. And if I did, I wouldn't know what I was saying, so I might be saying something bad about myself. He did call me gringo the whole week though. Gringo, however they say that like that. So great.
Called Josh Willie Booger.
Lazy. All the camera guys were lazy because when we wake up, I'd be down there at daylight ready to go fishing, and they'd roll out of bed about 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, come down there and start filming. He's like, "Oh man, they're lazy," but he's a great guy. You guys are gonna love him when you see him. So, but yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool. But there was a parrot, Choctaw or something like that, that was almost like 40 years old, that was left on the island by previous owners, and it would stare at you when you would walk by it. And the second you got by it, I'm telling you, it would cuss you. You couldn't understand what it said, but I would walk by it, and I'd look at it, and as I got by it here in the back of I mean, every single time. I got video of it. I'll show you. That thing was.
I wonder, did he learn that from Guillermo?
He probably did. So, it was very interesting. I ate more oysters, though, in 2 weeks than I've eaten in my entire life. But I think it's tragic. It was terrible. A lot of great places. But the thing about it is they can't, Apalachicola is closed to the wild harvest of the oysters right now because of the conditions and stuff like that. So technically the commercial anglers know that you can't harvest them right now. So we got to learn about these oyster farms and how they're raising the oysters up in these baskets and stuff. And it's pretty, they start off the size of your, fingernail, and then they grow to 3-2-1 is what you got to remember. A perfect oyster is 3 inches long, 2 inches wide by 1 inch thick. So when you go to the store, you make sure your oysters are 3-2-1.
3-2-1.
3-2-1. So yeah, it's perfect. So
I come up here and learn something tonight.
We learned something tonight. It had nothing to do with fishing here in North Georgia like that.
Nothing to do with fishing, though.
It does.
Harvesting oysters is a form of fishing.
The best guys down there to hang out with, though, and that know the area, are the mullet guys. And we went pulling nets for mullet. They got a commercial license to pull mullet. And it's really cool. We had like 5 acres, and we're pulling this net in and all that. I'm actually having to get out there and work with them. And so it's hard work. Number one, them people bust their butts to do this. But you look at 5 acres along the beach, you're on the backside of Cape San Blas, you're like, there's not a fish there. And by the time they get that net worked in to about an acre, I mean, it's seriously about an acre, then you start feeling fish hit you in the back of the legs. And you look down and you got a bull red swimming right by you. I mean, it's like, it was one of the most amazing things. And as they pull the net closer and closer and closer, you got to get them in this trap net. And, they're taking the mullet out, and they can only keep mullet. So they get rid of the red. They got to let the reds go, the sea trout go, the pompano, stingrays, everything. But to look at it, and it's kind of like any lake. You look at it, that's a dead stretch. You really have no idea how many fish are really in that area.
Well, you got to see it firsthand. A lot of people don't realize how much work goes into commercial fishing.
Oh my gosh, yeah, especially we caught over 3,000 pounds of mullet in that one drag. And we filled up 2 of their little boats. And again, one day everybody will see it. But yeah, dude, it's a lot of work. And then I've never eaten mullet. I don't know. Have y'all ever eaten mullet?
I've ate it one time.
Okay. Well, Guillermo cooked it 4 different ways. We took some back. They take the resource that they got.
The best way to eat it.
It's amazing. But Guillermo cooks everything, of course, with the one knife. You know, I'm serious. It's strange, but it's awesome. You know, and after a couple of his margaritas, you don't care what he's mixing them with, so it don't matter. But I'm just being honest. So he takes it. They do a thing with fish, and maybe some of the viewers have done it. They'll take sea trout and they butterfly it so that the trout is laying wide open. I've never eaten fish prepared like that. They do the same thing with mullet. We had fried mullet. We had smoked mullet. But if you live on the coast of Georgia and Florida and you go hungry, it's on you.
It's your fault.
It is on you. I've never seen and here's another thing that I want to ask you, the viewers, because we asked all the locals this, because I'm going on Dylan's comment right there. I saw the biggest school of mullet ever behind Pig Island and all that. Mullet jump all day long, but they're not feeding. And nobody, even your biologist, cannot explain why mullet jump. Maybe you have some, but nobody could tell us why mullet jump.
I had a biologist tell me one time that in his opinion, that they get slime buildup on their scales, and they jump to get that slime off their scales. And he says, that is my opinion. There's no scientific backing, but that was just his opinion.
If you ask anybody local, why is mullet jump? They go, because they're mullet. That's their answer to it, because they have no idea. But they will jump. We're wade fishing for reds, and mullet will come by and just, and you guys are going to see some really cool stuff when the show does come out, because they got drones over us while we're wade fishing. And if it makes the cut and all that, we have 6-foot sharks within 10 foot of us, and they're watching the sharks, and they're telling us from the boat, big shark behind you, watching. That's a little bit of an uneasy feeling in the water, especially for this boy, because there's nothing up here that eats you. And they wouldn't eat you. It wasn't nothing really dangerous. There was no big bull sharks, nothing, but it's still
lemon sharks.
It's still kind of an uneasy feeling knowing it's there.
Wait till you go on a cobia trip down along the Gulf Coast, because a lot of times they're looking for the cobia in the ditch between the two sandbars close to the beach.
Right.
You're up in a tower easing along there looking for the cobia, and you're seeing 10, 12, 15-foot sharks.
Yeah.
With people swimming.
Yes. No, it's
50
insane.
yards away and have no clue they're there.
It's insane. And Jeremiah won't go on your comment. Mullet run is strong right now. Actually, this is the time of year we actually hit it at the right time and go down there, because they'll fish for mullet certain times of year, and they'll go to something else, and they'll go to something else and all this. And the two guys that we fished with, they actually own St. Joe Shrimp Company down there. They have shrimp boats. So they run, they got their hands in everything. So it's really interesting. But
a lot of that stuff is seasonal. So
that's right. That's right. And so, I think while we were down there, the snapper season actually just opened up. They opened it up for weekends, something like that. Excuse me. But it's going to be really interesting. Now, the coolest thing, though, and I'm going to brag on an FX rod. I'm going to brag on this because I took my 7.4 that I finesse fished with up here on Lanier and all that, and I just took it down there, and I'd already backlashed my other rods on. So that's all I had. So that's what I fished with for the most part, unless we were fishing for shark on down deep. I caught I hooked one of the biggest stingrays I've ever seen. Now it finally broke my line, and I hooked probably a 5-foot. What's them sharks that look like hammerheads, but they're not?
Bonnet heads.
I had about a 5-foot bonnet head on that FX rod that we spot. That thing was flawless. And I was like, I honestly thought I was going to break my rod and all that, but I'm just going to brag out FX that one time. I mean, it held up
right behind you.
Yeah, FX. Well, there you go. But still, it was pretty cool. So, Georgia in particular is infested with sharks. That's kind of true. That is true. So, Dylan loves that shrimp company. They got the best shrimp. Yeah. So if you go down to Port St. Joe, tell them Danny with Fish North Georgia sent you down there. It is. They will steam you up some shrimp right there and all that. But anyway, I digress. So you got me talking about Guillermo, and we ended up talking about fishing down there.
I just wanted you to tell a story about you walking out.
He beat the daylights out of that rabbit, though, in the back of the head. That was the strangest thing I've ever seen, but it didn't really shock me. I just went,
Rascally Wabbit.
Listen, they got chickens. He goes out there, he goes, what do you want? He goes, what do you want for supper tonight? I said, dude, whatever, I don't care. They just go out there and kill a chicken, and they cook it right there and everything. So, it's a little bit of a different culture, but it's a little bit of different.
It's cool though. Cool.
It's very cool. It's very cool like that. So anyway, let's get.
Maybe when we're millionaires, we'll buy us our own island.
I think I'm going back there for Christmas.
Are you?
I think I'm going to take Amanda down there and spend the weekend, spend Christmas on the island.
Do it.
Yeah, Scott told me I could.
Cool.
We'll see.
Can I go?
No.
Next question.
Come see me
I'm
the
just
week.
kidding.
Come see me the week of Christmas. Dan won't be here. So
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know if we're gonna do it or not, but I might. So
All right.
let's get back on fishing
Get
here.
back on fishing in Georgia.
In Georgia.
North Georgia.
Right?
Not in any salt.
Not in any salt. So, Neil Scoggins, stay out of the water at Smyrna Beach. Yeah, it can be that. So, all right. So we've talked ditch fishing, but certainly right now that is not the only way you can catch fish on Lanier.
Mm-hmm.
So, Alatuna, jump in on Alatuna, Carter. What are some of the patterns people are seeing right now?
I know what I'm waiting on.
What are you waiting on?
Crawfish ball.
Mm-hmm.
The rock crawlers are starting to move a little bit.
The rock crawlers.
The rock crawlers, man.
You want to talk about a crawfish bone?
Let's talk about it.
You want to talk about a crawfish bone?
Sure, let's go.
You want to talk about a crawfish bone?
Tell us about the crawfish spawn. Now, is it crawfish or crayfish?
Crawdaddy.
Crawdad. That's what I call it. Crawdad.
Crawdads.
Crawdad. So,
Crawfish, whatever. Crayfish.
all right, tell us about it.
Mini lobsters.
They taste
All right,
good.
So the reason why
You suck the brains out? Oh, you don't do that?
They're way too much work for me.
Okay, Ryan probably won't even eat it.
They taste
What?
good. They just
Crawfish?
Yeah.
You suck the brains out?
nah, pretty much just
suck
eat
dead
them.
and eat the tail.
Okay, all right. You're wasting a good piece of it, but all right.
Well, whatever. Anyway, I'm on a blast. My comment that I said earlier about the magical time of 55 degrees,
Right.
is there is one thing that I did not mention that is very important that happens. Why the rock crawlers work so well, why the jig bite gets amazing,
Mm-hmm.
is because at 55 degrees, the male crawfish come out of their holes. And when they come out of their holes initially, they stay in about 10 feet of water or so. How deep does a rock crawler dive?
10, 12.
9 to 14 feet deep.
Yep.
Okay. So that's the magic zone there.
Well,
Why do reds, browns, and oranges and dark greens work on that? Red bug,
My favorite.
blaze orange crawl,
Delta crawl.
delta crawl.
Mm-hmm.
Because when the male crawfish emerge, when the water temperature gets below 55 degrees, these are the adult size, not the little instars.
Right.
These are the adult size, the full size ones. They have pretty much been dormant for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
And when they come out, they are deficient in vitamin A.
Mm-hmm.
Vitamin A turns them into their nice, beautiful green, red,
Mhm.
orange color, blues, and stuff like that.
Right.
That's why they turn that color.
Mhm.
When they come out with being deficient in vitamin A, they're brown, red, orangey, green.
Mhm.
They're very deficient in vitamin A. Part of the reason why they turn red is because when they come out at 55 degrees to spawn, just like many other animals in the animal kingdom, they turn a certain color to indicate spawning.
I'm ready, baby.
I know you're ready.
That's what they're saying.
I
I
know
got
you
you.
are. You're ready, babe. But I know you probably know about this too because
Been read
of
my
a,
entire life.
Well, I'm talking about because of a podcast that's on the show.
That's right. Shannon Gorman.
Shannon O'Gorman talking about
Mhm.
this. So
That's right.
basically, the male crawfish come out and they go sit on a rock in about 10 feet of water, and they do this.
Hey, I'm here.
And they sit there and they go like this,
This is what we're gonna do.
and they make a loud clicking noise under the water.
They do make that clicking noise.
Okay. Then they sit here and do this for a little while. I'm gonna let Jennifer get a picture or a video.
Dane,
or
is
whatever
it
she's
working?
doing.
Do you feel anything?
Yeah, Dane, how do you feel right now?
So they sit on
Dang.
a rock.
Bring it on.
They sit on a rock like this and they click their claws. And no female comes after a few minutes. And they go. And they go that way.
To the
And
next
they go to
rock.
the next rock. And when they go on the next rock, they go until they find a female. So that is why the crankbait, the rock crawler, works so well. And that is also why, in case anybody was ever wondering, it's like, well, yeah, I flew up there by this rocky dock and the damn 4-pounder grabbed it and run off with it. And I didn't even feel it bite on a jig. Yeah, because Dummy was up there looking for a crawfish.
Right. Yeah.
But it's fascinating to me how many times I hear people say that when the water temperature gets in the low 50s. They're like, yeah, it's pure luck. No, it wasn't pure luck.
Right.
It wasn't pure luck. There's a
That's
reason
right.
why that 4-pound spot or that 5-pound largemouth was up there eating on crawfish. So
There was a popular rock up there.
there's a very popular. There's a sexy time rock on there. How about
Good
that?
Lord, I'm
what's
serious.
going on.
Do the rattles in the rock crawler sound like the clicking?
That I don't know.
I think that's
Well, let's talk about the new rock crawler, the DD50.
It has a subtle rattle.
As a subtle rattle, it's not as loud as the other.
It does. Available at Fish North Georgia.
I have never really heard the love mating sounds of
You
a
can hear them
crawfish.
in the water. They'll click their claws that hard because the male.
Do that again. So make
Like
sure we got
that.
it on. Okay.
So their
This
claws,
is not scientific, by the way. But
their
it's close enough.
claws are big enough, and
Uh-huh.
powerful enough that
Uh-huh.
they can do that. But that's how they call for a female to spawn,
Makes sense to me.
and that's what they do.
So they
That's-
turn a nice shade of the color that will attract the females,
Yes.
and then now I'm gonna see how expertise you are. 2 rocks.
Mhm.
This one over here going. This one over here going. Got a female coming right between them. What makes her choose one or the other?
The size of their claws.
Size matters. All right, so we got it.
No, I'm dead serious.
I believe you.
Okay.
No, I'm dead serious.
Now, I
It
have
is
always
about size of the
heard,
claws.
let's myth or based on your knowledge, I've always heard that here in North Georgia, why we have the red color is so popular.
Farmer
What did he say?
Six stone. you know what I'm talking about. So
I know what you're talking about.
this is a child
It
friendly.
is. It is. I have to think about future episodes. I have to be good.
But I've always heard
Well,
That the re- the reason why go ahead.
Farm is sex stone different than cathead rock?
Yes.
Yes.
Gotta be.
I'll tell you off camera what a sex stone is.
I'm not even sure I want to know, but all right.
DT6s and DT10s would work.
But what I've always heard that the reason why the red color is real popular here in North Georgia is when the crawfish bury themselves up, it's in the red clay
I've heard that.
and the
as well.
orange clay, and when they come out, that they have that
Now-
reddish orange.
But they actually have a red hue on their belly.
Yeah.
Because when they're standing there like this, they can see it.
This might be the most interesting science class I've ever participated in. But I've heard that.
You know how
I
I
agree.
know this? Because I used to keep crawfish in a tank.
So you've watched.
That's the secret why I make such good jigs.
So we
That
didn't.
is the secret as to why I make such good color jigs, because I've actually seen what crawfish turn into.
Hey, there you
I
go.
have fed crawfish certain food.
Yeah,
we don't have any crawfish.
Listen, there's stuff growing in
There's
that.
stuff growing.
Nothing's going to live in that tank
Crawfish
right there.
would love that over there.
So
Would
So-
love that tank. So
okay, well, behind the scenes, I don't even know what they're doing.
Scenes laughing going on.
But let me
I
ask
don't
you
know what
this.
that's all
Now,
about.
Shan also said, because you mentioned that that's the adult crawfish.
Yeah.
Now, he said, and maybe this is you've noticed this too, that the juvenile crawfish do not bury.
they do
They
not.
tend to stay under the rocks and stuff like that. So they don't lose their color. So that's why you'll get the green ones
Yes.
still in the wintertime and stuff like that.
Yes,
Because they're not burying.
the
They're
second
juvenile.
and third instars are typically the most active of all the crawfish.
The what now?
The second and third instar stage is typically when the crawfish is most active,
Well, it's
because that's their teenage years of when they're trying to grow. You know, those you guys who are parents and have teenagers, you know, they're like, oh, damn grocery bills, $200 a week
absolutely, yeah.
because my teenager eats me out of house and home.
Absolutely.
It's the same process like that.
Okay, that makes sense.
So the goal of the crawfish is to become an adult.
Okay.
So, and they'll get anywhere, and here in North Georgia, they'll get anywhere from this big, about 3 inches. So I've even seen them
And we've seen some
to where they're
monsters.
about 6 inches long nearly.
Yeah.
They get some big, like some lobsters.
So let me ask you this: when you go to a Rocky Point or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and are you specifically trying to find those mature crawfish when you're fishing? Do you think that's like how do you tell?
This time of year,
Yeah.
I just try to fish what the water temperature tells me.
Okay.
If it's 55, below 55, oh shit.
And why is that?
He painted himself into a corner.
I have no idea why you're staring at me right now, but it's very awkward.
You were going to hold on to whatever that was.
Yeah.
I plead the fifth.
You plead the fifth. You can't do that.
Back up.
You plead the fifth. Generalize it. Come on.
God, I never swore I'd never tell a secret.
Well, it's too late now.
Between 50, 55 and 50, I will play tricks with people. I will put a double tail grub on the back of my jig. And then when I get to my first place, I'm actually going to pick up a jig. I take it off. And I put a Strike King Rage Crawl on the back.
So what you
Even when
is,
the water temperature is like 50 degrees and all manner of
so what you're saying
all
is
manner of science that the bass professionals say, oh, yeah, no, need a little action in that 50-degree water temperature. Nothing imitates an adult-sized crawfish, in my opinion, better than a Strike King Rage chunk.
well, I think that's a pretty popular opinion. I mean,
Nothing, in my opinion, nothing compares.
Well, I mean,
Nothing
but I think
compares.
that's known as a quality bait.
Yeah, but a
People
lot
out
of
there-
people won't throw it when it's cold because it has a lot of action. It has a ton of swimming.
So what
action.
you're saying is most people they want
will
to
opt for the 4-inch or 5-inch double tail grub or the super chunk style grub.
because it has less action.
Yes,
And you're
because
saying,
your people think colder water, less action, better bite.
but you are a little bit different in all your fishing.
Only it's because the crawfish are sitting out here doing this.
Okay, I
and they're
got you
moving
that.
around.
So basically, you choose more action. But that to me, that doesn't shock me.
But once I get below 50, I have to go back. I change.
so just that little time.
Yes,
But that doesn't shock
and
me.
they will when they bite it.
I think about how you topwater fish though.
Yeah.
You always like action. You're moving. You're always doing something like that. Where a lot of guys will slow down and go into drop shot and then stuff like that. You're always at action. So it's not like I know that's a little tidbit, but that's not a shocker to me with you.
Put a rage chunk on when the water temperature goes below 55, and
So JR Outdoors,
when they bite it, it's like there's no typical jig bite where it's like boop, boop, oh, oh, oh. It's
they crush it. Yeah.
and damn, it's swimming down the bank.
And they will. And they'll do it.
You know, it's
So JR wants to know water temp 55 to 60. Because that's a little warmer than what you're talking. You're talking 55 to 50. So 55 to 60, what are you doing?
55 to 60. If I'm gonna throw a jig, I've had zero success the past 2 weeks throwing a jig.
Mm-hmm.
I've been throwing.
What's the water temp currently on there?
Yesterday when me and Steve fished, it was 57.
Okay, that's
So we're
pretty cool.
almost there.
You know, it didn't cool off till late last year. It took a long time.
Yeah,
for the
we
lake,
had upper 50s in Christmas
yeah,
still.
right.
The jig bite last winter did not really get too crazy.
Right. We didn't have a lot of ton of luck with it.
It didn't get wild like it normally does.
Right.
The year before last it did. But this past year it didn't really get like crazy going. And I know there's always people catch. You will always catch fish on jig.
Right.
It's just location.
Mm-hmm.
Is you find the right location of what it is.
Right.
And always remember too, just because you're throwing a jig does not mean that 100% of the time you're emulating a crawfish.
That's exactly right. Now I've learned that.
Because sometimes you're imitating the yellow perch. Sometimes you're imitating bremests. You know,
get you one of them hard tacos.
Sometimes you're imitating, leeches.
Leeches are actually interesting. Yeah, I mean that's the.
Yeah.
I want to take a second too while we got a second. Dane is definitely up there taking a smoke break or something. I don't know where he took off to. Got to be doing that. I want to thank Rachel Collins and 400homes.com for their sponsorship of Livewell. I also want to send out a special shout out to Rachel herself. She's having surgery next month. Just been having some medical issues and stuff like that. So I thought
next week, I believe.
Is it? James came up here earlier and he said, I know it's in December, but
I
anyway,
think he said the 9th.
something. It's very early in December, but
Yeah.
not only is she a great sponsor and a great real estate agent, but also, you know, she is definitely a friend. And so we definitely want to make sure that we send her well wishes in advance of her surgery. And we hope she gets a full and speedy recovery so she can get out and start selling homes and stuff like that again. So again, Rachel, if you're watching, we appreciate you and all you do, guys. You can find her in the future, very near future, back selling homes again, 770-310-0599, or you can email her, rachel@400homes.com. But again, we Fish North Georgia family wants to send out a very big holiday well wish to you for what you been going through, and hope the surgery is a success. and all goes well, which I know it will be. So it's not life threatening or nothing, but still, anytime somebody has surgery here, we definitely want to, especially somebody we think a lot of, we want to make sure that we let them know that we're thinking about them. So anyway, Robert Williard, how you doing? Glad to see you. You know, we were talking about the ditch, and you talked about jerk baits. All right, so that's 2. We had a question up there. What's your 3 favorite? That was earlier in there. 3 favorite ditch baits. And you talked about the underspin and stuff. Both of you guys mentioned the jerk bait. Give me a third alternative to it, because the ditch bite, and it doesn't matter if it's on Allatoona or wherever, that's getting ready to happen everywhere. So what is a third alternative? And one of the, I think it was Stretch Mono said the C rig. We got the Carolina rig. We got talking about it. But if you don't have a jerk bait, you don't have an underspin, I say they're just not hitting it that day. What's your next alternative? And both of you.
Depends on the depth.
Right.
There's times I'll throw just like a swim bait.
Right.
There's times I'll throw crankbait. It all depends on the depth of where the fish are at.
Right. So I know that we've been talking about rock crawlers and all that. Generally, we're targeting the rocky points and stuff like that, riprap and stuff like that. So what kind of crankbait would you use if you're doing a ditch? Would you use a rock crawler?
Throw a rock crawler.
And would you do it the same
DT
way? Would you go all
series.
the way to the back of the ditch and bring it down? And then when you got deeper than what the rock crawler will go, do you switch?
Switch to a DT or
Right.
a different kind.
Okay. What about you, Ryan? You're thinking hard because I know you don't really throw anything else.
If I can't get bit in a ditch scenario, if I can't get bit on a ditch digger, a underspin, a jerk bait, or an Alabama rig, I drag a big old fat worm.
Big old fat worm. Steve Pinkston says if all else fails, a shaky head.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. And you can fish a shaky head right down the middle of a ditch, just like that. Same thing.
Yeah.
Well, I know guys that don't throw the ditch digger.
Right.
That's what they throw.
They throw a shaky head right down the middle. And just fish it the same way, just as a shaky head right down the middle of the ditch. I know guys that do it with a Ned rig. Same kind of premise as the shaky head. They'll pull a Ned rig real
I
slow.
want patience, and I want them now. Throw a
If you're going to throw the Ned rig, you got to slow it down. And that is actually the slowest way of fishing to me, like that.
You ever throw a sled head?
That's what I was getting to ask you. What is a buck? What does that say?
It's basically a
Creeper head.
what's that thing called, Paul?
Kobe imitator.
Yeah, but what's the actual generic name for it? Wobblehead.
Is it a what?
It's kind of its own thing.
It is kind of its own thing, but it's similar to a wobblehead.
Is that like the old slider heads?
Yeah, similar. Yeah, where can you? Who makes them?
I'm gonna ask you this question.
Really?
What's a slider head?
No. I know your love for one style of fishing because I share it.
Mm-hmm.
You like the wacky rig. I like the wacky rig. You ever throw it like a weighted wacky in the middle of the winter?
Yeah.
Because I haven't. So I mean that's a question for me. Because you know me, I like
It
it
is
weightless around the docks and stuff like that.
If they're in that 8, 10, 12 foot range,
Mm-hmm.
and I've had Jonathan in the boat, you've been in the boat with me, Murphy's been in the boat with me, or I've been in your boat doing it rather.
Right.
I'll throw a weightless wacky in 16, 20 foot deep brush piles.
Okay.
So I've got the patience to fish that way because I've got a lot of confidence in it.
Right. Well, yeah.
When make me a sandwich.
but if it's a real finicky bite, where I'm throwing the ditch digger and they're hitting it, but they're just not eating it,
Right.
I will put it on the bottom. I'll put maybe a 1/4 ounce weighted head,
Right.
send it down there. It takes a minute to get there.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
But just barely move it. And even instead of pulling the rod to me, just kind of turning it sideways and shaking it.
Just to give it enough because I throw the weightless wacky because of you.
Oh,
I did, but I love, that's one of my favorite ways to fish.
Ron Pendergrass.
What did Ron say?
Warmer December in the forecast.
Yeah, I've heard that. That's the way it works, right? But I don't throw a weighted one very much. So I was actually curious if you could do that with a ditch.
I've been, before I hurt my back and all that,
Right.
I had started fishing pretty much everything on that 1/16. or 132nd weighted
Mhm.
head, just a little bit faster to get down there.
Right.
And
little
it
bit.
seemed
A little bit faster.
the 1/16th when I was playing with it in the pool versus the unweighted
Right.
drops it a little bit faster, and you seem to get a little more wave out of the worm.
Out of the worm like that.
A little
Okay,
more
there's
action
there's
in
a good tip. So let me do this because we're into this show a good ways now. It is Thanksgiving. We're all thankful we get to fish and stuff like that. And you guys that are watching, I'd love for you to put this in your comments like that. And we'll answer that question in a second. But in the comments, some of the things that you're thankful for this past year going forward. I know I can speak for Ryan right this and knowing he's a father now and stuff like that. So I've seen the change in him. Dad, listen. You thought he was a big old teddy bear before? Good Lord. Now, I mean, he's whipped and he don't even know it.
Mallory has ruined him.
He is whipped and he has no idea. He is a big pile of pudge right now.
Well, I told him before she was born, I said, you love your wife. I have no doubt in that. But when your child is born, it's a totally different
Ain't
kind
it
of feeling.
though? Ain't it though? Like that.
Every time I walk in the door, she sees me and she just smiles.
She's laughing.
Well, because you're
She's
funny
smiling.
looking.
That's
But
what I'm
anyway.
saying. She's laughing. She ain't smiling. It's gas or she's laughing at you. But no, I mean that's the kind of things I'm talking about. Like, that's a big change in your life right there.
Yeah.
Becoming a dad and all that. So I'm not a fan of the Nico rig. I don't fish it enough.
Certain times of the year I am. But a lot of times when I'm fishing Nico, I'm throwing it up under walkways,
Right.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where I'm more looking for a reaction type bite versus a subtle
Right.
bite.
I got you. So Dane, what about you? I know you've had your health issues and stuff.
I am
what
thankful
are you
that I
thankful for this right now?
Well, I'm thankful for good health finally.
Yeah.
It's been an uphill battle with the
Had the back.
surgery.
Yep.
Thankful for family. My
Yeah.
wife, God knows she's got a sense of humor. She married me and
Boy, I tell you what, we got the same
puts
woman
up
right
with
there.
me. So
Absolutely like that. So,
you know.
and Ryan, you can speak. I know I stole your thunder with Mallory, but that's just something I've seen in you. What about you?
What am I thankful for?
Yeah.
There's a lot of things.
And Paul, you can jump in on this too if you want to live on the widescreen.
For.
I don't care. Leave it on the wide. Ain't nobody
Paul's
care.
thankful for the slam. We know that one first off.
Paul, let's do this. Let's give Paul some love. Paul got he don't have it with us, but he got an official certificate from the state of Georgia for the Georgia Slam. It happened, and that's out of the 10 species of bass. How many is that?
5.
So you caught 5. So what?
Did the bare minimum.
He did the bare minimum. I know Andy Middleton's trying to do. He's been trying to get that one to do the lifetime where you catch all 10. I think there's one bass that he's hooked. But like that. But that's still that's an impressive thing. So Jason Glaze, y'all's table looks like a dinner table from Talladega Nights. He got it.
He already missed it.
So Jason, you are late. We did the Ricky Bobby prayer and everything, but we had Kentucky Fried Chicken, Taco Bell, and Pizza Hut. Thanks to Miss Jennifer, the pizza brought us from For Her Outdoor Apparel. So we did pray to baby Jesus. So we actually did do that. You have to go back. Tim McGuire, I'm thankful to be retired and able to fish at will. Amen on that. So Dane and I have been some tight spots back in the day.
Yeah.
We're not going to go talking about back in the day in my tight spots.
Well, that's back when we both wore badge and gun belts. So.
Oh, okay. So, all right. So, yeah. So, absolutely. And again, as always, we thank our law enforcement. We're pro law enforcement here, like that. So, Zach Archer, how you doing? So, Dylan's thankful he got his boat all working. That's a big thing. For now, you're going to learn that with the boat, it is an upkeep. Absolutely. Satterfield, how you doing, man? Have a great Thanksgiving. So, Ron Swinford, I'm thankful that we get to go fishing. Very thankful. My dad is doing better. That's awesome. Getting to fish more again. And that's it, and I mean, hey, you enjoy those times. My favorite, by all means, fishing partner of all time was my father-in-law. And then right up till he passed away like that, if I hunted or fished, I was with him. And then there was a period of time after he passed away. You just don't feel like it because you got that bond and stuff like that going. So make sure you take time with anybody that you love and all that. Spend some time with them and stuff like that. So that's a big thing. So I'm thankful for yahoos like you guys. Hey, listen, that's the one cool thing about what we do, the people I get to meet and the people here that watch the show and all that. We've met seriously, some really interesting, good people over the past few years. getting to do this. And we might not have ever got to meet him if we hadn't done this little podcast stuff like that. So you're one of them.
I can remember the first time I came up here. Friend of mine asked me if I'd heard of this place, and I'm like, "What?
What? Right?"
And he said, "Well, I'm going up there. You want to ride?" And that's when you still had the table.
Oh, good Lord, we didn't have anything up there. Hardly.
Sitting when you come in the door, had the table sitting out there in the middle of the floor on the left.
Yep.
And
we didn't have nothing in here. We didn't have nothing here.
Come a long way.
It's come along. It's got a long way to go. But I will say this too. And this is for every retail outlet and out there, especially small businesses, but especially in the fishing industry. A lot of people don't know this, but the last 3 months has been one of the slowest periods the fishing retail side has seen in 30 years.
Yes.
And I've got that from good sources that are in the know. Yes. It is really tough this year for whatever reason, whether it's the economy, the election, whatever. So when you guys go out there, we appreciate your business as always, but even, wherever you go, if it's a small business, especially in the fishing thing, hey, do some business with a local business. You can go to all the big stores and all that, but take some time and go out to some of your local businesses, Dugout, Hammond's, Beaufort Dam Bait and Tackle, all these places.
Kill us.
Yeah, well, I ain't so much worried about that, but it's just the economy but the fishing industry in and of itself is down. A lot of places are down 40% from last year. It's a big drop. So support. Listen, Black Friday, go to your small stores. Wherever you go, I don't care. Go to your small stores.
Well, I'll tell you, from being around y'all, I'm probably like most consumers. I thought there was a pretty decent markup in fishing tackle.
There ain't, is there?
But, I went and picked up an order for y'all the other day and being around, and really the margins aren't great. I own a small business, and I know my margins aren't great, but I'm dealing with a whole lot more volume, and dollar wise than y'all are. But, and I've been harping on it on my Facebook page, on the ABA page. Support these local bait and tackle shops. If I know it's easy to sit at home on the computer and click buttons and it's dropped off at the front door. But guys, if we don't have these local places and these big places take over, we're going to be hurting.
Yeah. Well, and it's okay. And like, there's those of us that have other outlets and stuff like that we're pursuing and stuff like that, but there's a lot that don't, and so, and again, and it's not just tackle shops. I mean, it's all your small businesses and all that. I will say this, that, we want to see everybody succeed. So I don't care who it is, but
we are open Friday for Black Friday.
We are open Friday. I haven't decided on Saturday yet. I might go hunting. I don't know. I'm missing my time in the woods.
Afternoons are better hunting right now.
Is that what it is?
What?
Well, I listen, I tell you this too.
I don't know. Me and Steve saw about 50 deer.
Oh, deer. Yeah, they're in the rut. It is. I got them in my yard all day. What does that say? I'm thankful for the FNG show and Ryan's Tuesday's fishing trips. It adds a little something to look forward to. And, that's one of the cool things about that Tuesday fishing, especially the fact that it's unscripted, unedited. Like, I guess if you watched it, y'all see me peg Ryan in the back with stuff like that, or he's getting my line out of trees because I'm not tall enough to reach up there. And
right now, I want to say one thing about the Tuesday live fishing, and this is dead serious. I'm being dead serious about it. Y'all don't realize how much stress that puts me under, because I know you guys want to see me catch fish, and I know you want to see us catch fish, but guys, God's honest truth, man.
Is it not stressful?
It is probably the 800-pound gorilla. He gets a hold of me about 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
And by 10 o'clock, he's choking me.
Pressure.
And by the time I get to the point where I'm like, to hell with this.
Well, you missed
I'm done for the day. You guys.
You missed it a couple of weeks ago. He was out fishing and we were all being the peanut gallery telling him what to do.
Oh yeah. Hey, listen.
Y'all did.
He
Y'all
did.
expert advice.
Listen, and listen, hey, we're being honest. That irritates the fire out of it like that. It's funny.
That's the reason why we were doing it.
But me and Steve were laughing yesterday, and Steve's watching. This is no joke. So Steve's, bless his heart, love him to death. Steve's anchor light would not keep my phone battery up. It like maintained it at a battery percentage, and it actually kept dropping. Right. It just very slowly dropped.
Mm-hmm.
StreamYard absolutely sucks the ever living piss out of my phone battery.
It does.
It really, and Danny can attest to that.
It does.
So I had to cut it off because I was down to 10%, and it would not stay up. And when I pulled it out when we moved, I would lose 4% of my battery.
Right.
I was like, I was going to lose y'all, and I would have had no way of being able to like shut the stream off. Y'all been watching black screen. So, but this is no joke. We shut that thing off. I shut that thing off, and I'm like, all right. So I'm taking my phone off the YOLO Tech, and all I hear is, I turn around and I look, and Steve, I got one.
The second that the camera comes off.
Yeah.
That's where it works.
He gets one. It comes up. It's about a 3-pound spot.
Yeah.
We lose it.
But you still got to buy it.
Right.
You got to buy it. That's the way it works. So
10 minutes later, Steve catches another one.
Yeah.
Number 3.
Yeah.
20 minutes later, Steve catches number 4.
Yeah.
And then about 2 hours goes by and Steve catches number 5.
Maybe Steve was camera shy the whole day. Maybe it was his fault.
Steve was making comments about the camera, but you know.
That's it. Yeah.
But in all seriousness though, about the live though, I appreciate you guys having fun. I have fun doing it. It's a lot of fun. I know you guys get to see stuff. You know.
But what do I tell you? It's realistic.
It's realistic.
It's not edited.
You know, it's not like
it's not 4 days worth of filming shrunk into 30 minutes
Trust
worth of
me,
catching.
and that's gaining a lot of experience in that. That's how they do it. There's a lot of editing on a lot of these shows.
I appreciate that, Adam. Thank you very much. So, but
look, Steve, he was cool as a cucumber.
I promise here before too long, we're going to pull the backs of one of these creeks and one of these ditches, and then we're going to load the absolute piss out of the boat.
See, when I go with him, it's easy because all I got to do is stand in the back of the boat. There's no pressure on me. I'm just talking to the camera the whole time. You know, I'm just making chit chat and all that. And let him try to catch some fish like that. So I have zero pressure on it. But yeah, you get a little pressure on yourself. But it's self-induced. It's self-induced pressure.
And we were having a pretty good time. Farmers at work. He was watching
I
was watching it.
You would be shocked at how many people will just sit just because they just need a diversion or something like that. They'll watch it, and you can go hours without catching fish. We've done it before, but it's just, it's something different like that. It's a good
pull
thing,
up in that magical little spot, and it's every other cast. It happens.
It does has fishing.
Some days you're the windshield, some days you're the bug.
Absolutely. So I took your show over.
You did. It's fine.
No, but I mean, you want to finish it up. You want to
I want to make a comment back to Mr.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Y'all start taking it over. I'm supposed to be the guest.
I'm going to go back to one of the comments that Mr. McGuire made. Yes, Mr. McGuire, I remember the grenade night. It's a night that I want to forget.
Well, then why'd you bring it up? So what's the grenade night?
He brought it up. We had a gentleman riding around and decided he wanted to shoot at some houses, and then he was riding around with a grenade in the car with him, and
interesting.
Me and Mr. McGuire and several other officers had a
eat that cookie.
Was it pretty good?
Had an encounter with this gentleman that liked to end it badly. But
was it a live grenade?
Yes, it was a real one. It was a fake that had been made into a real one.
Ooh.
Yes, he is now serving a very long prison sentence.
Okay, so let me ask you this. Let me ask you, good Lord, Stephen Bardet, good Lord, you hungry? That's right, we are hungry now. I've been talking so much, I haven't eaten. But let me ask you.
We laid this out in hopes that you would show up, but nah, you refuse to.
Yeah. How does a police officer handle a situation with
Skade?
When you see he's got a possible grenade or something like that? I mean, what goes through your mind? I'm very curious. I mean, is it fear? Is it anger? I mean, what goes through your mind?
Says run, but you got a job.
You got a job to do.
And I had a guy tell me when I was a rookie, at the point that you start doing this job and you don't have some fear,
Yeah.
get out, because you're going to get yourself or somebody else hurt.
Yeah. Cause by that time, yeah.
Fear is a good thing.
No, I understand that.
And
I'd wet myself. I mean, I'm just gonna be honest. That would scare the ever loving daylights out of me. What are you holding it up for?
I agree with you.
Yeah.
You agree? Yeah.
they classified it as
I mean, I've been
90
held at
because
gunpoint by a cop. So, a couple of times in my life.
yeah, I remember that.
Again, also 10 pounds of lead is the most you can carry open in the state of Georgia, apparently. And if you're
Without a hazardous materials permit.
without having the hazardous, whatever. And if you're 6'7" and the cop is my height at 5'7",
Probably 5'7",
and he's intimidated by you,
160.
you might end up at gunpoint, or with your hands on the back of your truck, being accused of making illegal ammunition, which I didn't know existed, but apparently it does. Or
It
something.
doesn't exist.
You just intimidating, Ryan. That's it. He was just scared of you.
That's what Dane said.
So
That's what you said.
fear is healthy.
He said
Like,
it's probably the fact that he would come up to the side of my truck and seen how big I was, and he was like, "Get out of the vehicle. I'm going to show you who's boss."
And it should have been just the opposite.
And there's plenty of, and unfortunately, thank you for your service. Thank you for doing what you've done. Thank you, Zach Archer, for doing what you do currently. Thank you,
Oh,
Tim
Zach,
Dwyer,
that's
for
right.
doing what you've done.
Yep.
Any other law enforcement or ex-military, current or active or whatever.
or whatever.
But there are a few of y'all who are just bad apples. And
That's
I've
whatever,
had
Professor.
2 instances where I've had running a bad apple.
Well, that's because you beating your size and all. I guess you just
Well, there's
trust
good lawyers, bad lawyers. There's good preachers, there's bad preachers. There's good fishermen, there's bad fishermen. You
Bad
know,
fishermen.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Bad
So,
fisherman over here.
like bad fishermen, like you guys ain't bad fishermen and all that.
Bad.
So, hey, real quick, upcoming next few weeks, what are you looking for? And I know you're not going to be on the water, but if you were, because you don't get to start fishing again until January.
first to second week of January, I can finally go back to
Finally.
slinging it.
So, but given your,
If I was going right now, I would.
and give us Alatoona. That's the lake I think you probably are most familiar with.
I
So,
would.
guys on Alatoona, what are they looking for with the water being down so far and all that?
Right now, I would look rocky points, things of that nature. Swim bait bite, crankbait bite, swim bait bite, chatterbait bite.
Yeah.
I'd be looking in those realms of where they're at. If they've already moved into the ditches. Y'all know last year I did very well on the ditch digger.
Yeah.
It won me a decent amount of money last year.
Appreciate the shout out.
If they're in the
Hell,
ditches,
wait.
Right.
that's what I'm typically going to.
So right now, so right now your focus is shifted onto that. That's All right. What about you, Ryan? Especially with hey, Jennifer, y'all fishing Lanier? All right. So for those, got some high school tournaments on Lanier this weekend, stuff like that. What do you if you're going to be on the water? What are you looking for?
Well, I will be on the water tomorrow, and I will be on the water Sunday. And I'm pretty much going to be looking for more of this going into the backs of the creek deal going on. They're going to show up, and the big ones are going to show up eventually. The big ones are going to start pulling in any day.
When's it going to start kicking on the south side of the lake?
Well, I mean, if they ever get over the sonar shock they've been induced to for this past year, then maybe they'll move back in there. But yesterday,
Does Alatoona get that? The northern, I mean, is this is a question for me, and I wasn't planning on
we
asking it,
fished a
but
ditch yesterday in the
Yeah.
back of a creek that had a ditch in it, a well-defined ditch. Yesterday it was the first place me and Steve went to. We weren't around no fish. There was no bait in there. There wasn't a sign of a fish.
we were on the south end.
Yes, we were on the south end of the lake. We're below Brown's Bridge, pretty much.
Right.
There was nothing.
You got you.
Nothing. You get above Highway 53 from both sides of the river. They're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere.
And that's what I was getting ready to ask you like that. Is Alatoona split basically in like two different lakes, kind of like what Lanier does?
No, the north end up toward the river, yes.
Uh-huh.
But as far as the main part of the lake, you get down south of I-75, and pretty much a lot of that water goes away when they drop the lake.
Gotcha.
It's
Kellogg Creek.
when the lake's up, you got the spillway down at Lake Allatoona and all that, but when the water level goes down, you can't even get there. So it concentrates a lot, but they move back into the deeper pockets, the creeks,
Right.
that kind of stuff. But you can still catch them on Main Lake.
Right.
Plants and
I didn't get to
places
say
like
what I
that.
was thankful for.
Well, I gave you time.
Life scope.
He finally broke down and got him a Garmin.
He called me and I like to fell out of the tree.
I know he has gone to the dark side. He's either seen the light or he's running from it. I don't know what he's doing.
I remember a comment, something about I would never have that crap on my boat.
You know what? It seems like I've heard that a time or two.
I don't remember exactly who said that.
I don't know, but
Hey.
he's tall.
Hey.
You ain't scoping, you're hoping.
So I mean, okay. Well, let's real quick.
No,
You ain't got a ton of experience with it yet, but what you've had it short term. What's your take on it from somebody who was kind of opposed to it? Not necessarily opposed to it, but you just kind of like, I don't need it, to somebody that now has it. Honest opinions.
I wish Bronson was watching. I don't think he is. There was one creek 2 weeks ago I pulled into. It was the first tournament that I fished. I've only had that thing for like 2 weeks now. That East Hall tournament. I pulled into the back of it. And granted, these were not like big fish, but it like made me here in confidence right now to I blew the roof off. Because if I had not had, and I'm saying this is God's honest truth. Look at me, Paul. I'm being dead serious about
He
this.
wants a solo camera right now.
I'm being dead serious about this. If I had not had live scope in that creek, I would have not caught. I would have not made 4 casts and put 4 fish in the boat in a row. Because previously I would have been throwing down the middle. The fish weren't down the middle. The fish were sitting on the edge. And they were sitting on one specific edge that was in there. They were nowhere in that 100-yard stretch in that long creek, except on this one 10-yard little spot. If I had not have had live scope, I would have never known them fish were there. I would have never thought to throw over there. I would have never known anything about whether or not where I even to contemplate throwing over there. It would have changed my game plan for the rest of the day 100% in that instance with that particular creek. I would have abandoned the ditch digger. I would have went doing something different.
Mm-hmm.
But because that happened and the depth that those fish were at, I was like, that's it right there. They're in here. They're moving in here. Let's go check some more. Did I stare at my live scope? I fished 3 times now with my live scope. Have I stared at it the first day that I put it on? Yeah, I stared at it because I was trying to mess with it, make sure everything, get my settings right, and look at stuff, and just kind of taking an understanding of what I'm looking at.
Right.
You know, because I've used it before. I've been on some of my buddies' boats that's had it, but it's never been like mine, like on the front deck of my boat.
Right.
To tell how serious I am about what I've done when I made this decision to be more competitive, I jerked the other graph off my boat. The only thing I have on the front deck of my boat is the Panoptics.
Okay.
I do not even have the transducer for 2D on my trolling motor. I cannot go to that. All I have is live scope. That's all I have.
Right.
And then I have my graph on the console that basically just runs the contour lines. Well, you've been in my boat, you know.
Right. Yeah.
Got my waypoints and everything off and marked brush.
Right.
And stuff like that. That is all that I have right now. But single-handedly, if I had not had that last weekend, I would have not have been keyed into what was going on, and I would have not said, "Okay, they're doing this. Let's go run some more that are similar like this." And it helped me, and it sent my. I mean, I'll be honest with you. In that Saturday tournament, you know, there was one creek later on where Bronson literally stood in the bottom of my boat and held the net because I was throwing, catching, slinging it in the boat, taking it off. He was pulling it out, and I was throwing back out there again, catching another one. Because I got on a roll with it, and my confidence had just shot through the roof.
Right.
With what I had going on. So,
with that
being said, LiveScope is a tool that can be used no matter whether or not you want to do this with it, or if you want to glance at it.
So you used it more as like a try to find a pattern.
Yes. Still maintaining the same style of fishing that I'm used to, that I'm comfortable with.
But you just found it to locate the fish that were just off of what you would have normally done.
Right. And I have found that staring at it, I haven't had issues staring at it yet.
Right. Well, your back's still straight, so I can tell you haven't.
Yeah.
You can tell the guys that stare at it all the time. They're walking hunchback.
But that's just me.
Right.
It's
but from somebody who didn't think you're saying,
I wasn't gonna get it.
You weren't, but now it is a useful tool. So you've adapted a little bit to it.
Yeah, and it was a breakdown. I'll put it to you like this. It was a mental breakdown mentally
to do it.
I broke down.
So now let me ask you a question straight up. Does LiveScope give a tournament guy an advantage?
Yes.
Okay, that's fair enough.
To further give that point, last two ABA tournaments, the Carter's tournament, 2 of the top 3 have it on their boat. The last tournament at Chateau, all 3 of the top 3.
Yeah. So Derek wants to know, do you find it particularly useful right now, and do you think it'll be less useful in other parts of the season?
I think it's going to be something that I'm going to use a pretty good bit.
Okay. Fair enough.
I've already kind of learned a little bit of something about it already. So
will it change your power fishing in the summertime?
Yes, it will.
Okay.
Simply because, and I will find out here coming up later this next summer, I believe that I will be able to use it to decide whether or not I need to skip a horny toad underneath that dock or not.
Fair enough. Yeah, I got you.
Well, you can turn like Panoptics on perspective mode.
Pull
up there, look up under the dock, and go, nope, next one.
Yeah.
I think it's going to change a little bit of stuff. The biggest thing that I seen with it though is, and there was the day Kurt was with me. And Kurt was in the back of the boat, and he was laughing because he was like, "I seen the damn light bulb go off in your brain,
right?
I seen it. I was in the back of the boat. I had the wind at my back, and I started going down this deep bank on the south end of the lake. It was inside of the dam. I started going down the. I was like, man, that damn wind blowing. I should be able to pick up spinnerbait. And there's a bunch of blowdowns. Let's see. And I kind of started going in, and then I was kind of like." I said, whoa, with my trolling motor and pointed it at a 45-degree angle and did not touch the trolling motor and literally stared at it as it pushed me down the bank. There's a fish up there. I threw a spinnerbait at it. It didn't react. There's another fish. Threw a spinnerbait at it. It turned and looked at it and chased it for about 4 feet. And very slowly chased it. And I said, damn, we'll chase the spinnerbait.
Okay.
When beforehand, pre-Ryan would have been like, there ain't no fish on this bank. Let's go find another one. Let's go throw a spinnerbait down this bank again. Watching that fish turn on that spinnerbait, and you can't hear me because the wind's blowing, and I'll just say it exactly like how I said it because Kurt heard me, but y'all couldn't hear me on camera. And I was like, I said, I'll elaborate a little bit on it. I said, damn, that MFer didn't chase that spinnerbait. And it just I kind of sit back and I was kind of stood back in the boat. And you can see me, if you go back and watch that episode with the first one, you can see me take a step back on my deck. And I kind of look across the other side of the lake and it just the light bulb went off in my head where I was like, this thing is going to eliminate 90% of the water
Mm-hmm. I
in
got what you
terms
said.
of power fishing.
Right.
Because why do I need to keep throwing if there's nothing there?
Mm-hmm.
Why do I need to keep throwing a spinnerbait
If they're not,
if they look at it and they won't commit to it?
right.
They
Right.
don't want it.
Right.
So put it down. Do something different.
Mm-hmm.
Where beforehand, old Ryan would have been like, well, dang, they got to buy a spinnerbait.
Eventually, right? Yeah.
You know,
I got you.
I feel like I can get bit on spinnerbait.
Yeah.
Old Ryan would have just kept on
Going down
going
bank.
down the bank, going down the bank, going down the bank. Okay, we mixed in this bank, put the trolling motor up, turn around, let's go to another one.
Right. So-
You'll notice when I did that and when that happened, I put the spinnerbait down. I did not pick the spinnerbait back up the rest of that day that we fished because I knew they weren't going to chase it. If I couldn't get one to chase it and one to eat it, the one that why is there probably going to be potentially another one? Why do I need to waste my time?
So you use it as a tool, not to necessarily see the fish hit the bait, but to see how the fish were reacting to your bait.
Yeah, and it was really
Right.
and I guess
This is an interesting transformation that I'm watching right here.
Well, you can learn.
I get a little bit. I've already talked to Jennifer. We've texted about it already because she was like, "Oh my God, you got it, you got it, you got it," and I was like, "Yeah," and she was like, "Let me know how you like it. Tell me what you think." And then I had a day, and then I let her know what I thought about it, and I was just like, I was anti it.
Mm-hmm. You were vehemently anti it.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. You were
and
so against it.
And now I have a few seconds to process it, reiterating, and then thinking about that bank that I went down, going back, and then saying what I said, reiterating what I said. It was like,
Bing.
I was a fool.
Hey, that's
I will admit on camera right now for everyone to go back to look at. I was a fool. It helps.
It helps.
It helps.
Yeah.
It helps. Now, am I going to be one of them that does this? No, I don't think I can do that.
But at least you can use it to say, hey, you know what? I'm going to quit wasting my time doing this. I'm going to try something else.
The other thing, too, and I think I told Jennifer this, too. I know I told a couple other people. My understanding beforehand of what I thought fish did on the bottom is wrong. And I'll admit I was wrong. I used to think them fish on the bottom, laying on a point, would sit there, basically. They don't sit there.
They're moving.
They're moving. They may be on the bottom like this,
but they're constantly
constantly moving around back and forth.
Right.
Well,
so the idea of what I thought of when I would say, yeah, we'd drag a jig right by one and then pick it up. Let me tell you something. In 3 trips using it in my boat, when you throw a shaky head or you throw a jig and there's fish there, every cast, they look at your bait. They nose on your bait. And they swim off if they don't want to bite it.
That's interesting. That's a great perspective, seriously.
Single cast, there is a fish. If you are around fish, there is a fish that investigates your bait.
That is very interesting. That's a whole different Ryan.
The other thing, you pull up on a brush pile, how many of us fish brush piles? You pull up on it, all right, they're in the brush, you're sitting there looking at them, you throw up there, you hit the brush pile and the fish go.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I can't hit the brush piles.
Mm-hmm.
Come back to it, the fish are on it, you throw to the left or right of it, they'll come out.
Investigate.
Yeah. May eat it, may not eat it. But I noticed several times on Alatuna, you hit the brush pile and the fish scatter.
So basically what you're saying is, Ryan, is that in 3 weeks, a piece of technology that you were against has kind of revolutionized or retrained your brain in a little way, the way you thought fish were acting and stuff like that. So you now see it as a useful tool, even in just recreational fish, not to learn with. That's what I'm saying. You can use it to learn like fish behavior and all that and how they react and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's the big thing.
Yeah. I just, that first Tuesday live on the water that we used, I was fascinated by the way bait reacts. And then going into that next Saturday, that following Saturday, when in the club tournament that we had, you can tell with the live scope too, to this extent, you can tell without even seeing fish. You can tell by the bait, if you find the ball of bait, if it's even worth fishing. Period. Because I have noticed already that the ball of bait, when they are loose and they're just kind of going across the screen nonchalantly, there's no point in fishing in there. There may be some fish in there, but they're not going to want to bite.
But they're not feeding because they're not tight.
Feeding. Now, when that ball of bait comes into view and it goes, whoa, sorry, like this, it goes, whoa. And it's the ball of bait comes like this and it goes, and you woo, just chase them.
Something's after them.
When you chase them and you see them disappear again, right behind them is chasing them.
But what's neat's watching that.
And you're like, these fish in here, if I can catch up with them and line up with them just right, or see what kind of maybe what they swim back to, I can catch these fish.
Yeah,
they'll bite quick. But when the bait is just kind of
meandering about,
around in a little ball, there.
Or you watch that ball of bait all of a sudden become a C or a U, where they're
because something's coming up through it and all that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think this is an interesting turn of development here at Fish North Georgia. That
I ain't gonna have that crap on my boat.
Huh?
I ain't gonna have that crap on my boat.
Yeah, I remember that. But you know what? He's a father now. He's maturing in ways like that. He's looking for new things. You know what are you laughing at? Huh?
Well, I ain't stay off my brush.
Yeah, and I saw the light. So,
yeah, that's what that was.
Yeah, eat his minnow.
What Kurt said.
Stephen, you better go check your brush. People been dragging mine off all year.
Oh Lord, we ain't got time to get into the brush.
I think the first one and since Kurt's watching, Kurt can say this. I think Kurt wanted me to would have wanted to see me in Dodger Blue the first time I had one, where I actually threw at one and I watched it turn and chase my bait down and bite. I think he would have wanted me having a Dodger Blue jersey.
You think so?
Well, dude, I swung like it was the bottom of the ninth World Series, Game 7
Rip
with
the
2
lip.
outs, dude.
Rip
Down
the
by
lip.
3. Dude, I broke 12-pound fluorocarbon off. I swung so hard. You can ask Kurt.
You was that excited?
Dude, he goes, boop, and I'm talking, and I was like, I've never broke 12-pound fluorocarbon before on a hook set. By God, I rocked my boat. Almost. The second one bit, and I said, I was watching it, and I had it, and I was pointing it, and it was like this. It was pointed this way. The nose of my boat is going towards you guys, and I throw it at it, and I was sitting there looking at it. And the second one, I was like, by God, here he comes. So I go,
making sure nothing's behind you.
No.
Oh, you didn't look at it.
I watched it. I turned right, and then I set the hook, and I got it. But the first one, it bit, and I'm talking, I said, "Schwack!"
It's like a top water bite. If you watch it,
Yeah,
we'll take it away from them.
Yeah.
If you don't wait till you feel them.
Yeah.
I listen. I totally get it. Absolutely.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. So, what did Kurt say? He said something else.
What's that? Yeah, 100%. Yeah. So,
but I did. I turned around to Kurt and I told him. I said, I've never broke off 12-pound fluorocarbon on a hook set, and I will just broke off 12-pound fluorocarbon on a hook set because I swung so hard. So now I'm gonna pat myself on the back. I can look at one and watch it eat it and set the hook.
All right, let's go back a few shows when you had the Sega set up in here. It's not like video fishing, is it?
No.
fish on. Fish on.
No, it's not.
This could be a big one.
This could be a big one.
No, you can tell if there's one.
Penelope George. I haven't seen that name either.
She's new. She started watching during the kayak.
Well, there you go. Thanks for joining us tonight. Happy Thanksgiving to you.
I said, yeah, what Kurt said. I said, all right. And I fell in love. And yeah, I mean, it was just like I said,
I'm just tickled to hear this come out. I mean,
I've lost it.
Hey, listen.
Him telling that story reminds me of that day on Lanier. What was you screaming? eat it, or get it.
That was me. I set the hook on a 4-pounder. Yeah, that was the craziest thing in the world.
Because you wouldn't set the hook.
That's because I was thrown on that ledge and I thought it was just sinking. It was coming to me the whole time. I couldn't feel nothing. But I was listening to you scream. And I said, oh, well, I guess I must set the hook. Sometimes it's just good to be lucky, man. That's all. Hey, listen, you're my live scope. You were telling me to set the hook. But you
Your
weren't.
line swam 10 feet.
Yeah, but I was.
And then he's like,
but here's the thing.
fluke fishing.
No, here's the thing. If you remember, I wasn't throwing a fluke.
Set the hook, Danny. It's swimming down the bank.
I was
It's a 4-pounder.
I was throwing a shaky head.
I know.
But I was watching you work
I
your
know.
fluke. I hadn't had a bite in forever. I wasn't paying attention. I'm watching him work his thing and all that. And
It was fear set in on me.
He's taking it.
He sets the hook, and I turn around when I set the hook because I'll turn around and rod watch. I can tell on a rod watch if it's a good fish or not.
yeah,
And I turn around, and I'm like, and a stroke of fear goes through my heart because Danny is the breakingest off thing I've ever met in my life. He's shaking his head because it's true.
absolutely.
And the first thing that comes to my mouth is when I see the hook rod and I hear zzz on a bait caster.
I didn't have a bait.
Not on I told you to put it on a bait caster.
That's right. I didn't have it on that bait
I
caster.
said you're going to have to put that thing on a bait caster about 2 hours earlier. I said
Yeah.
because you can't touch the bank with it
Yeah, that's
where
right.
these fish are on these
I
herrings.
switched to a bait caster.
And he puts it on a bait caster, and when it's going when it's coming to the boat with a bait caster, you know that it's a good one. And I'm a fear went through my spine for a second as I grabbed the net because I'm like, this sucker's about to pull him off, and he's going to reel it up. He's like, I don't know what happened. And it's going to be curlicued on the end because he's not failed.
Well, that's the only way I do that braided fluoro. That's what it's saying. I had straight mono on that. Straight fluoro on that. I got the fish in.
You did get the fish in.
I
I gained a lot of confidence.
I gained
I
some
don't
confidence.
have to. I'm not worried so much when you set the hook anymore after that moment. But still, we're gonna have to worry on bite detection.
Listen, that was what we got to work on because that thing could have been halfway down to Buford Dam.
I'm sitting there, I'm looking, and I'm like, get it. What? He just sets the hook, and I'm like, what else do you need? I mean, what do you need to know, Danny?
Listen,
It's swimming down the bank.
listen. He has.
Set the hook. It's got it swallowed.
He,
He's gonna swallow it through his butthole in a second if you don't set the hook.
listen.
I love Danny Pruitt to death.
All that is true. All that is. I
It
listen.
is
All
great.
that is true.
It is great.
All that is true.
It is great.
But bottom line,
Right.
yeah,
He's taking it. He's taking it.
he's taking it. Yeah. Listen, I didn't know. I was paying attention to him. I had a bite in an hour, and I'm watching him work a fluke. I was trying to learn how he's watching his fluke. Hell, I didn't care about my line. I didn't know nothing was going on, but I got the fish in. I got it in.
Blind hog finds acorn every now and then.
That's exactly
It was
right.
a 4.5
It was a 4.5 pound spot. It was a good one.
It was one of your biggest spots you've ever caught.
It is a result oriented business. And I appreciate you telling me to set the hook. Hey, it's all about teamwork, right?
Swing hard in case you get it.
I am a net man, but occasionally I luck up on one. So there you go. I know my place.
At least you ain't like Bronson with jigs. Bronson's not watching soccer. I mean, at least you're not like Bronson with a jig.
Yeah.
You know, Bronson would be fishing a brush pile. Squirrel.
Yeah, right. Look at
And his rod goes.
Yeah.
I'm like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm in the brush. No, you're not. One just snatched it out of the brush, and it was said mine. And then it said it's fake, and blew it back out. And it was just, I'm like, did you not see that?
No.
If you can't have a good time fishing,
We do have.
Oh, we have a fantastic time fishing.
I will say this. Let me say this. Bronson, the 40-gram OG will catch brim.
he has a picture to prove it.
Hey, listen, I believe
A
it.
brim come up and bit a 40-gram
Well, that's because
OG.
Brim's stupid.
And happy Thanksgiving, Bardo.
Yeah, absolutely, Barday. Brim are stupid. They'll hit anything.
They're too aggressive for them.
They're very aggressive. I mean, they're like,
But what's a
it's like a dog chasing a car.
What's a brim going to do with a 40-gram OG?
What's a dog going to do with a car?
Lick it to death.
I guess that's what they're going to do. Bite the tires.
Bite the
Makes
tires.
no sense, though. My dog attacks the vacuum cleaner every time we cut it on. It makes no sense.
I caught a brim.
I think just you're trying to run stuff out of there.
It might be, but I
I
mean,
caught a brim on one of those Z-Boss 24s.
that's what I'm saying. It's like, I've seen them caught on just the most ridiculous stuff, and you're just like, well, what were you thinking, dude? But I do agree with Paul. Like sometimes they're just so aggressive, they just want to run it out and kind of get it out. They're territorial and stuff like that.
Barely got the treble hook in his mouth. What was he going to do?
What was seriously? All right.
I just wait. I just can't wait. I don't know. It's just funny.
It's just funny watching your reaction to all of it. I haven't been on the boat with you with it yet, so I'm looking forward to that.
I wasn't talking about panoptics.
Oh, now what are we talking about now?
I was just
I'm with you, Dano. Best net man on the lake. That's what I'm qualified to do. So
nothing beats the tournament that I fished. The first tournament I ever fished with Danny, and I turned the boat around, and he's able to pitch into this sunk blowdown with a drop shot. And every time he set the hook and got a fish in the boat, when he popped bringing up in the boat, his knot would come undone. He had to retie his drop shot. It lasted. Like the fish would last. His knot would last until
just long enough to get the fish on it.
And when he would boat flip it, you would see come undone, and then a weight would go this way and a hook would go this way, and fish in the bottom of the boat. And I'm like, dude, what are you doing? And he's like, I don't know, but they're coming in the boat. I was like, but you got to retie every time. I was like, what the hell?
I don't know.
He retie. He got him another dog. He goes, he says, I'm going to put this morning dog worms in my pocket. He puts them in his jacket.
Don't have to bend over.
He goes back in there again. He's like, woo! I got another one. And I'm like, by this time, I'm like grabbing that. I'm like ready to jump in the lake.
Because he thinks it's going to break.
And he comes up there, he swings it in the boat. And he swings it in the boat. There goes a drop shot hook, and there's a hook in the bottom of the fish's mouth. And I'm like, how is this
possible? Yes.
How is this possible? I don't understand.
But they got in the boat.
It's like on a video game where Danny sets the hook on a drop shot. It's like, you have 10 seconds to get this fish in the boat before your knot breaks.
That's exactly right.
He did. It was just like 10 seconds would be like coming over the gunnel. And
yep.
10 seconds, and the knot just goes, and everything loses.
It could.
Still nothing beats the Nico.
What did I do with the
on
Nico?
Carters.
Oh, yeah. I didn't know you're supposed to screw that weight in. I was just sticking them straight in
the back of the boat.
This is why I am the common man.
In the back of the boat. God, we love Danny to death. Y'all need to come give Danny some love. I'm serious. Danny's going to do big things in life.
If you want to know what a sexstone is, he'll be able to tell you tomorrow.
I'll tell you what a sexstone is tomorrow. Don't worry. Or Friday. I'll tell you Friday when I see you again.
This is actually kind of funny.
Danny goes, I think I'm going to throw a Nico rig. Okay. Well, we've got one fish in the live well. Okay. I ain't got no motor. I blew my coil pack that morning.
Right. This was the day we were fishing.
That morning. We can't go nowhere. Went from the highs of highs, and I'm going to explore. I'm going to explore Carter's Lake. Nah, we're confined to the damn Sack Creek all day long. And it's like, fabulous. This is great. We're going to try to make the best situation as best we can. We may have no trolling motor batteries after 6 hours, but that's okay. We'll make it. As long as we got enough to load the boat up.
That's right.
We'll be okay.
That's right.
Then he goes, I'm going to throw a Nico rig. So he's back there throwing a Nico rig, and I throw a jig up there on this bank. And there's somebody, I can't remember who it was, said I catch fish on that bank. Boom. Oh, man, there's a jig bite. Whack. All right. 2.5 pound spot.
Yep.
Woo.
Mm-hmm.
Danny's like, all right, I'm going to finish my Nico rig. All right, here we go. Worm goes this way, lead weight, down weight goes this way. He goes, what the hell is that? And I said, I don't know. Worm was still attached to his line. His knot didn't come undone. No. He's throwing weightless wacky worm. It's got enough weight to undo the knot. You know. He's like, what the hell was that? Oh, I can still see my worm up there. Reels back in. Huh? And I turn around.
I did it like 2 or 3 times, didn't I?
And I don't say anything. I'm like, did he just do it? I think he did it before I could like process it in my brain. Son of a bitch! I just lost another one. And I was like, are you like pushing it in there? Yeah, what else? I said, you're supposed to twist them in. He twisted in and goes, oh, that works better. I swear to God, that was his reaction. There was no they're like that what it was. They got dang crying over here. And then he's like, all right, I got this thing figured out. So we go down the bank. We don't catch a fish. I said, well, we got open water out here. We made it to the end of the bank. I'm not going no farther. We'll go start working back down this way. We got about an hour before Dane and who was it? Justin Timmy said, we're going to meet back up to weigh in. We start going down that bank, and Danny's Nicoing. He's Nicoing wacky. He is just in tune with it. He's just in tune. I got one. Yeah, I got one. It's just coming right at me. It's a stick.
True story.
Like I have the net.
He did have the net.
And all I see is out of the darkness a big old limb about this big.
So you had a tree
He
pounder?
swore to God. He swore to God. He goes, I swear to God, I had a bite.
A tree pounder? A tree
I
pounder?
threw the net in the bottom of the boat. I don't know what to tell you. You don't know whether or not you know.
Listen.
Stick said bite. Sticks don't bite. They don't.
When I'm good, I'm good, and when I'm bad, I'm bad.
Yeah, I got one.
Listen, I heard about those Carter spots. You know, I thought I was pulling a big one up from deep. Hey,
we're in 20 foot of water.
I know. I remember.
I
remember it well.
I lost my compression in my seat.
I know. I remember it well. It was
now.
I know. That's because you've been bouncing up and down laughing at me. That's why I'm over here now. Y'all are tall.
I love the hell out of you.
I love you too. You're a good man.
Yeah.
You're a good man.
have
I'm
fun
thankful
times.
for you. We have a
fun time. I still don't think anything beats you hitting him in the back of the head with in the back with a Ned rig.
No, that was pretty.
Because
bad.
you thought you were about to. He thought he was going to be a little Billy Badass, and he was going to slide a Ned rig underneath his walkway, and he didn't slide the Ned rig underneath the walkway.
Hit you square in the
He hit
back,
me right square between the shoulder blades.
and it was. Hey, listen, and it was a quarter ounce. It was a big one.
That's stone.
Have you went back and watched the video?
Yes.
Okay.
I do this. When he hits me, I'm like, yeah, I thought a hornet, it's June. I thought a hornet come down and decided, screw you. Like that. And like, he goes, and I turn around and he's like, oh my God, are you okay? And I'm like, what the hell did you just do? I hit you in the back with a Ned head. Good thing it was our weedless one.
I did. It's just, well, I listen.
But his reaction when I turned around, he was, I've never seen a grown man go, and he stood there for like, are you okay? No. It just feels like a murder hornet just hit me in the back between my shoulders.
Listen,
like,
I was going to. I threw it hard.
I
threw it hard, but it's all fun.
I hope you guys are having fun with this.
We did, but but it is late.
We're gonna wind this thing down.
And
I didn't even realize we.
Well, you know, it was fun.
Well, Ryan done got on a roll. He got on a roll.
It
That's a
was
good
fun.
thing. And it's your show tonight, so you know I'm gonna let you bring it home.
It was fun. All right, so let me put my hat back on.
Put your hat back on.
All right, well,
take care of business.
Listen, I hope you guys enjoyed it. We hope y'all had some fun.
Yep.
Maybe you learned a few things, and maybe y'all had some good laughs going into Thanksgiving. I hope you did. So we appreciate all you guys' support. Y'all have a happy Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm.
Come see us Friday.
Friday.
Come
see us Friday.
see us Friday.
Friday and Saturday. Remember, there's a couple of Black Friday tournaments on Allatoona. One at Gatewood with
Yep.
Michael Kinney.
Yep.
One at Galt's with the Sunday morning bunch.
Okay.
And then the other shout out.
Saturday we got Turkey Bowl, Scott
Yep,
Barnes
Scott
Turkey
Barnes.
Bowl on the
Okay.
Little Hall.
That's some big ones.
Um,
Got the high school on
high
Sunday.
school Sunday, LR Park.
At Laurel.
We will hope all the high school kids are safe. And,
Absolutely.
hope y'all catch a lot of fish.
And Kurt, my football picks is whoever's got the most points when the clock hits 0 in the fourth wins.
That's going out on a limb. That's jumping way out there on that.
That's the best goal game of the business.
That's right. Football picks. All right, what game? Well, okay, how about this? We'll tech cover. So 35 point.
No.
If it's raining, Kirby might slow the game down.
I think they will cover because I think it's going to get
Weather predicts that game.
Yeah.
He could beat him by 80, but you know how Kirby is. He's just going. He wants to.
Well, number one, he shut
defense
the
is
playbook last week.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
Grind the ball.
That was the most vanilla offense I've ever seen.
But that's what I'm saying. Kirby doesn't care about scoring 80.
Everybody was like on Facebook.
And I'm going to be honest.
Georgia sucks. I'm like, dude, they ran the ball left, ran the ball right, and tried to throw post routes.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
If the Georgia Tech that shows up in the first half versus North Carolina shows up,
North Carolina sucks.
It's going to be a walk in the park. The Georgia Tech that showed up in the second half, they actually played ball. Give them credit where credit was due.
North Carolina's terrible.
I know, but
they are. But I'm telling you, Kirby will slow the game down.
Being ranked 13th.
They don't.
Well,
but Kirby is not
in the ACC championship.
Kirby doesn't need to score 80 to get his ranking.
No. Exactly.
So I'll tell you what. Okay, so
the big question is: did Bama get in?
No,
absolutely not.
There's a couple things.
Too many things got to happen.
I think Michigan, Ohio, that's going to have to be a blowout.
If not, both
to eliminate one of them.
If not, if it's close, both of them get in. TCU, because TCU will win out.
TCU's got to be upset, and then
so
the other thing is,
wait a second.
SEC championship, Georgia'd have to blow LSU.
All right, so let me give you this one real quick scenario.
I don't think LSU get blowed out.
All right, so hey, look, real quick. So say Georgia wins. Say Ohio State wins, Michigan loses. TCU. This is just a scenario. So Ohio State wins, TCU wins, but now you got a one-loss Michigan against the ACC champion, which will be Clemson if Clemson wins out. I'm telling you right now, I think they would put Clemson in.
What
I think you're probably right.
What if
you know what?
What if Ohio State beats Michigan by 6?
So I don't think it matters. I know what it should happen, but I think
because
Clemson,
if you look, Michigan has even if Michigan loses,
right?
Michigan has 3 wins over top 25 opponents.
They do. But what's on your it's still
shout out to Jeff Sword. He's a Michigan fan.
Listen, though, still though, it's what you did lately, and that loss is going to weigh large on people when they vote. That's just my thing.
I don't know if TCU will win.
I wouldn't put TCU in there regardless. I'd put Clemson or Alabama or LSU.
Okay, let me look at this from a Georgia fan. I want TCU at number 4.
Well, TCU wants you. They're ready. But
what would be the final score of a TCU wins out? What would be the final score of a TCU Georgia game? Georgia would be the number 1 seed if they beat LSU. We won't argue.
I don't think Georgia would run the score up. I think Kirby would play. Kirby grind the ball in the second half.
33-7.
It's whatever they scored in the first half, and then
33-7.
Play protection.
I like the Tennessee game.
Mm-hmm.
I think Tennessee was more. That's what he did. He slowed it down. He could have scored so much more on that. He slowed it down. He don't care.
I don't wonder if come college football playoff time. I don't wonder if come SEC championship game in 2 weeks, if Kirby finally don't flex his muscle. Because he ain't flexed his muscle all year.
Well,
he didn't flex his muscle against Tennessee. You can't deny that. You remember I stood right here on that show. I sat right here and I said, I will not be shocked if Tennessee wins.
38-31, we hunt. You're crazy. There's no way TCU drops 31 on Georgia.
No, there's absolutely no way. I really feel like I've watched every single
come remotely close to that.
I've watched every single Georgia game, and literally, like Todd Monken, literally is like, "Oh, we're up by 2 scores. Let's run the ball left, run the ball right, and throw screens."
Well, that's
we went 4 and out. That's okay. There's no sense of urgency when Georgia gets up by 2 touchdowns. There's zero sense of urgency
because they don't want to get nobody hurt.
Right. And to all the people who say Georgia isn't, I'm gonna tell you what. Bart A still watching. He probably agree with me on this. Georgia has turned into. No, I'm not saying they're Alabama, but Georgia has turned into Alabama
Well, it's
because they have depth at every single position,
Well, they
and
got-
their second string is better than a lot of teams' first strings. Their third string is arguably half their third string could start on the average NCAA team.
probably. Probably.
The talent discrepancy between Alabama and Georgia.
Well, Alabama's problem this year.
Alabama's problems this year is defense.
Well, defense and wide receiver.
They can't guard
yeah.
pass to save
They
their
hadn't
life.
had anybody step up and go, "Hey, I want to be the guy at wide receiver." You
Yeah.
got Burton that
Hide and watch. It's college football. Yeah, South Carolina did drop 60 on Tennessee, but I think honestly, I think Tennessee had their Rattler had a career game.
I think
and
Tennessee. Me and Steve.
I
talked
think their
about
air
it.
got took out of their sails.
Me and Steve
That's
talked
just
about
me.
it yesterday off camera when we had the camera on. I asked him about because Steve Pink's a South Carolina fan, and Steve pretty much said like one thing. He said, "I think Tennessee came in thinking they were going to be handed."
Well,
the
that's
win,"
it.
and that was pretty much how they played the entire game.
And I will say this too. TCU can hardly score 31 on people in their conference. I mean, they're not going to score 31.
And they have
on Georgia's
escaped
defense.
quite a few
See,
times.
when Georgia's offense stinks, they've got a defense they can rely on. Whereas like Tennessee's offense is great, but when their offense is off, they don't have a defense.
Well, have you seen some of the picks on the Vanderbilt Tennessee game?
Hey, listen, them doctors in Tennessee are playing ball, man. That's all I'm telling you.
There's a lot of people picking Vanderbilt in that game.
Vanderbilt's playing inspired football.
Inspired.
Tennessee has lost Hendon Hooker.
That's exactly right. But I watched that TCU game the other
Do
day.
you
They
think
did
that-
not impress me at
Do
all.
you think that guy, the backup, they're like, "Oh yeah, he's the backup," and he's
Do you
like
see
the
how
best
hard he throws?
the
It's like
best-
Nolan Ryan. It's like screen pass. He's throwing 152 miles an hour, like the backup for Tennessee. Do you watch his passes?
Have
I
you
mean,
seen
he's
that
got a
kid that's-
cannon.
You seen that kid that's coming into Tennessee next year?
Well, that's next year.
Tennessee's going to need defense.
Georgia is third.
All right, wrap this thing up.
Georgia is third.
Paul's got to go home. Paul
gotta go
said
home.
he's tired.
Guys, we appreciate you.
Mhm.
Y'all have a happy Thanksgiving.
That's right.
Watch some football. Eat some turkey. Eat some dressing, green beans, whatever all else you want.
Be thankful.
Be thankful for your
Sweet potato
family.
casserole.
Sucks. But other than
Yes, it
that,
does. Come see us Friday.
Come see us. Yep, come see us.
Are
And
you going to be here Saturday?
yes,
Maybe.
I'll be here Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna kill my deer in the morning.
Come see us.
I'll be here,
Definitely Friday.
Friday, and Friday's gonna be raining, so you
Friday's
don't
gonna
have
be
no deer,
raining.
So come see
anyway.
us.
Yeah, so come see us Friday.
Right.
Guys, we hope you enjoyed it. We appreciate you guys. We love you. Thank you for watching the 50th episode of the Livewell. Peace out. We'll see you guys. I'll see you guys Tuesday live on the water. Peace out.
There
See
you
you.
go. See you.
Georgia's ranked